Hey, everybody. Welcome to That Game Place, the show where we talk about video games. It's the only place on the internet that you talk about video games. So, guys, just keep all of that discussion to a minimum outside of this live stream. But otherwise, well, you can be sure to share it out. That is the exception to the rule here in the only place that we talk about video games. I'm being ridiculous. Culture, do you want to talk about video games?
Of course I do. That's why I'm here. It's one of the reasons why I started this channel, and why you're here. I mean, here's why we're here.
That is very true. I do love to talk about video games, specifically Astrobot. Right now, I have a new game that I'm geeking out over. Poor JB's spooky reviews. I'm editing a video, and suddenly Jonas is in my ear. Hello, JB. It's time to make those changes, man. You can do it. You can do it. All right. We need to bring in the rest of the panel today. I'm so excited to have them here. First of all, our good friend high above the stratosphere. This is ground control to Space Dave. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. You know, hey, whoa, the SpaceX. Oh, they're going by. Oh, hey, hi guys. Those astronauts are great, man. I finally got some company up here. So
yeah, and it looks like they're going to join you in a spacewalk tomorrow, Space Dave. So
we nearly had to exchange insurance, though. They got kind of close a couple times, but we're good. We're good.
Well, I mean, in space, a few thousand miles is close. So
that's true. Well, yeah.
Yep. Also, we need to add to the panel. It's Wednesday, so let's see. Taco Tuesday was yesterday, so I don't know if you guys caught it, but this guy right here, representing Valhalla, Loki from Loki's Mornings of Mischief. Welcome back.
Thank you so very much, guys. Thank you for having me back. Oh, I'm on top. Holy smokes.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
Thank you. It's great to be back. Great to be here. I can't wait for what we're going to talk about today. I'm so very excited and ready to light some stuff on fire and dump it in the giant trash fire. Me and Culture we've been stacking boxes in this giant garbage bin, and just they're boxes of the Concord game and Dustborn, boxes just full of copies, and we're just lighting them on.
I gotta compliment you too as well. Your videos, man, hitting it out of the park.
Oh, thank you very much. Job. It's been a lot of fun. Look, it's just me. I ask Loki questions. He goes on for 5 minutes. I ask him another question. He goes on for 5 minutes. And then I'm like, okay, done. Let's go.
well, in that case, I do have some questions that I would like to ask the three of you here. But before we do that, I just want to say Butter Biscuit for $5.
Butter Biscuit.
Starting us off right. Finally
you,
got around to playing Sins of a Solar Empire 2. Good stuff, and the ship designs are fantastic.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. I can't wait. There's supposed to be the crew that worked on the original Sacrifice of Angels mod for Sins of a Solar Empire are supposedly already working on another Star Trek mod that'll be in the pre whatever era, back when TNG and DS9 and Voyager are good. I can't wait. The designs on those ships are so good, and what is already there is just beautiful. When you pan around your fleet destroying another fleet, you're just like, yeah, they're great.
See, this is the kind of thing that makes me care about, like, ray tracing, for instance. Getting to see everything in graphical clarity and in wonder like that. Speaking of ray tracing, though, we need to talk about one of the big three reasons to buy a PlayStation 5 Pro, because there seem to be only three right now. Maybe some alternatives. I don't know. I'm not sold on this one yet, but let's talk about this one out of the PlayStation blog. Welcome to PlayStation 5 Pro, the most visually impressive way to play games on PlayStation. There it is. It's got marks on the side of it there. That's how you're going to be able to tell that you've got a PlayStation 5 Pro. Features include a GPU upgrade, advanced ray tracing, and PlayStation Spectral Super Resolution take players to new heights. Wait, features including see now I understand the tense of this sentence. Let's see. On September 26th, pre-orders will be available directly from PlayStation at direct.playstation.com and at participating retailers. Let's see. On October 10th, pre-orders will be available everywhere else. Should we just watch this video here so everyone can enjoy it the way that we did?
Sure.
Oh, it sounds so fast.
It does.
16K.
Where have I seen that before?
There's a little bit. I'm gonna move this around here because there was something that was missed on here. Okay, gonna move this back. Hopefully, it'll let me watch the actual video here. Feature only available on select PS5 games that have been enhanced for PS5 Pro when compared with PS5. PS5 Pro enhanced features will vary by game. Oh, here's another one. Vertical stand separately.
I'm buying one now.
Dude,
that little round stand.
You're not reacting enough to that.
Well, yeah, we're going to make sure that we go through all the nickels and dimes here because it's more than nickels and dimes at this point. So let's say what they're offering first. Upgraded GPU with the PS5 Pro. We're upgrading the GPU that has 67% more compute units than the current PS5 console, 28% faster memory. Overall, this enables 45% faster rendering for gameplay, making the experience much smoother. Advanced ray tracing. We've added even more powerful ray tracing that provides more dynamic reflection and refraction of light. This allows rays to be cast at double and at times triple the speed of current PS5 consoles. AI-driven upscaling. We're also introducing PlayStation Spectral Super Resolution and AI-driven upscaling that uses a machine learning-based technology to provide super sharp image clarity by adding an extraordinary amount of detail. To that word right there. Well, where is it? There's the list of games, but let's see. Vertical stand sold separately. What are we waiting on? There it is. Disk drive sold separately.
Those are sold out, by the way. Those are all sold out at the moment. Everywhere on Best Buy, GameStop, Amazon. Those run for $79.99. You're probably going to be looking at a double or more. You're probably going to be looking at $199 to catch one on eBay when this thing comes out because they've already bought them all.
I think you're probably right. And by the way, if you go directly to the PlayStation shop, you can get one right now. It looks like $79.99. This will only attach to a PlayStation Slim Digital Edition, by the way. I don't know if you get a PlayStation Slim Disc Edition, if that one comes off. But this appears to be built around the same, chassis as the Slim. Maybe I'm wrong about that. I don't really care if I'm wrong about that because whoever's getting a PS5 Pro probably not so worried about the physical specs on the Pro version here, on the Slim, whatever. But yeah, $80 if you want this thing fully upgraded. So $780 if you want a PS5 Pro that where you actually own the game and they can't come across you a few years later and say, no. We've got some kind of weird battery that's coded to the system on this one, and that's going to disappear, and you won't be able to use your console anymore. That's what happened with the PS3.
PS3.
Right? Yeah. You used to love that console, and now it's in danger. Guys, what do you think about that price point?
Well, you got to add more to it, Jonas. You got $80 for the drive if you can get it for $80. $700 for the console. That's $780. $50 for a vertical stand. Another $70 to $80 for another controller. By the time you're done, before you even buy a game with tax, you're probably pushing $1,000 before you even get a game. Yeah, it comes with the new that game you love, Astrobot. But
well, it also
it comes with Astrobot or
yes,
Astro's Playroom.
Astrobot. It comes with the new Astrobot.
The $60 one.
Yeah, the $60 one. That's
Holy
what the
cow, really?
it'll be on the hard drive when you get it. So you get that game for free. But before you spend any money on games, you spend $1,000 on a console.
I just want to point out the Canadian price is going to be $960 for the base, none of the attachments. So that's more than my mortgage, just so everybody knows.
Ouchie.
Oh, well, we're just a slight bit off here. It looks like the vertical stand is only $30.
Last time I looked for one, I've got the big fat one. I've got whatever this is, but this came with one. This came with a stand.
I'm going to put you in solo here so you can show everybody what you showed us before the stream started.
I want to show you guys something. So up here in the corner, you see this? That's his 8K.
It does.
That's what the new PS5 Pro is supposed to do. You see here, it says 4K 120 megahertz. That means this thing should be pushing 120 frames per second. It does not do that. You're lucky if you get 30. If you were in quality mode, you get 30 frames per second. If you are in performance mode, you get 60. This is absolute BS right here, this 120 number. You don't do that. You don't get that. You do not get those frames per second. You might get them on a movie, which would absolutely blow my mind if you could find a movie that does that, but you don't get it in a game.
And they get away with that, Loki. They get away with that because the output is an HDMI 2.1, I believe, which actually can output 4K 120 hertz. I've proven that with my own system, and 8K 30 frames a second or something like that. But that's just all it can do. And it has been tested. Both systems can do that, Xbox and that. But there's no game on the market that does 120 hertz.
And if you think, well, if I get this Pro, all my games, I can play in quality and I can play in performance mode too. So I'll get the best of both worlds. No, there's a short list out right now. What's coming up now? 13 games. Only those games will merge performance and quality mode, where you get the 60 frames per second and you still get the quality from quality mode. That's all you're getting.
And that was the same issue with the last generation, right? When they did their Pro upgrades. The game had to be basically re-rendered or specialized for those games. So it would just speed up the old games, make the frames a little more smoother, but it wouldn't do any actual.
Well, let's talk about that, actually, since we're on that subject. Loki sent me this article. This is from GameSpot.com right here. Oh, let's add in Spencer Baculi.
Spencer!
What do you want from me? You want more ranting about the PS5? Because this thing is the dumb words that I can't use on a family-friendly stream.
Redonkulous, Spencer.
We're not quite done talking about the PS5 or the price point, but before that, we're going to get to this very exclusive list of games that's going to be upgraded by the PS5 Pro here. This is one thing that I find fascinating about Nintendo versus PlayStation right here. Nintendo is rife with studios that are always pushing out content. Well, let's talk about this list of, sounds like 15 games. Oh, come on, guys. Where's the list? First of all, Alan Wake 2. Oh, good. That's
Everybody's looking forward to that one.
Yep. Assassin's Creed Shadows. I'm wondering if the graphics are comparable in Assassin's Creed Shadows to that Star Wars Outlaws game that just came out from Massive Entertainment. It is a different studio, but maybe. Let's see what else. The Crew
It's a different
Motorfest.
studio with the same ownership, though. Like they're at a certain point, they're going to go, "Can we have money or something, or can we hire somebody to do this?" And the Guillermos are going to go, "I need to, buy another Lamborghini. Sorry, can't do that. Ship out whatever you have."
Speaking of Lamborghini,
yeah. Speaking of Lamborghinis, anybody play The Crew?
I played the original.
Yeah, 1,000 years ago.
Yeah, I liked Forza back when I played that, and I like Gran Turismo, which is of course the Sony.
Oh, that is such a great product.
The First Descendant, right here.
No, Gran Turismo.
Mm-hmm.
Look at all those girl bosses.
Oh, yes, that's what the Descendants are. It's the girl boss the show. Although this apparently is the girl boss the game.
And that's not just the same girl over and over again. Interesting.
Is it? Or is it the same girl?
Demon's Souls.
Not girl. Okay, it is not girl boss the game. That I don't know where you're getting that K culture, but it's clearly not coming from someone who's played the game. It is a large, wide, like Korean MMO style game. It is not feminist girl boss the game. Come on, guys.
Okay. All right.
Excellent.
All right. Let's see.
So,
Demon's Souls.
I don't know. I'm just, you guys probably noticed it over the last couple of streams. Like, I'm just so, I'm not down for the sensationalism lately. I feel like we owe our viewers something a little more.
I agree with you. My assessment was based on the show. So it's nothing like the show.
Didn't even know it was a show. So okay, that's an L on my end.
No worries.
That's all right. Demon's Souls. Okay. Dragon's Dogma 2. This is the cat lady boss, right? Boss cat lady. Let's see. Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, of course, no question there. Gran Turismo 7. Let's see. Oh, and Cerny called this one out specifically. Faster hardware in the PS5 Pro can make a real difference, allowing Gran Turismo 7 to add ray trace reflections between the cars in gameplay while continuing to support targeted 60 frames per second. I've said this before. Ray tracing does not make me pick up a game. It's a nice feature there, but it just does not matter to me.
What this is video game tech broism, right? They go, "Ooh, look at all the ray tracing, the advanced lighting we can throw in the game," and you go, "That looks great, cool. Who cares? What is the game good? Is it fun to play? Am I getting anything out of it?" And they go, "But look, you can see the light between the cars. Oh my goodness!" And it's like, who cares? There's no application for this.
Yeah.
And I think objectively, when they show ray tracing and you go, "Ooh, it's only taking a very terrible engine like Minecraft or something like that," and then you throw ray tracing, and then you're like, "Ooh, that's cool." But that's just kind of a trick at the end of the day, and it does nothing for modern games. I've noticed that really make you go, "Ooh!" Like, and I was going to ask this: has anyone noticed maybe the last 10 years that graphically games have really not done much in the last 10 years?
That's the exact same thing. We've hit this point where the graphical advancements aren't happening in the sort of leaps they were back in the day, right?
Yeah,
Super Nintendo to N64 to GameCube or PlayStation 1 to 2 to 3. There were leaps and bounds happening all the time. But we've gotten to the point where the next step is sort of, it has to be photo, like actual realism. You were sitting there in VR, hit like high-fiving Spider-Man.
How long have they been promising that? For about 20 years? Photorealism?
20 years. And so everything that we do in the meantime is just sort of like, look, we're doing more and more, but it's sort of just adding bells and whistles. And these games don't look that much greater than, a game from last generation. If you really crank up all the settings and everything, put Crysis up against Cyberpunk 2077, Cyberpunk will look marginally better than Crysis. You're getting diminishing returns for this. So that's why I mean it's tech broism. They go, look at all the tech we're giving you, all this ray tracing, all this processing power, and it's like, that's great. There is one game to play on the PlayStation 5. Can you help us out there? Like, this is the problem we need to solve first.
Right. And essentially, and this is including third parties here. Obviously, Hogwarts Legacy is a third party game here. I've got it on the PS5. It's
I'm pretty
not that
surprised
impressive.
that third party games got the boost here. It's just in general.
It's already done. It's already done, Spencer.
Really good point.
I've got so I can pump up Hogwarts Legacy on my gaming PC. I can 4K, I can turn everything on. I max out all the settings. It's running at 60 frames per second. It's all technically the work's already done. They just have to turn it on the PS5. They just have to turn on the options. So it's not like this is like, ooh, we're going to be leveraging our PlayStation new PS5 Pro engine to do things you've never seen before. Man, we're like 10 steps ahead of you already on PC.
Right. That's exactly it. Anybody out there who needs a good gaming console or wants to play current games, go get a PC. You can get a decent one for like $500 and you can go online. You can play bunches of other games, not just like one console on PlayStation.
Now, Spencer, where you get upset, I'll get upset here in a friendly way. Is that I hear that a lot, but you cannot buy a good system for $500 and ray trace and stuff like that. You'll maybe get a good 1080p system.
Yeah, correct.
But you will not get a 4K 60 frame a second for $500. A lot of people claim that. I've never seen it, so that's just pushing back gently on that one.
No, and that's a good pushback. I didn't mean it that way. If you're not getting a high end, we're pushing the limits, 400 gigs of RAM PC for 500. But you can get a rig that you can play something
it does
like
the job.
Fortnite. You can play I don't even know what the kids do. The Crew these days. Forspoken will probably run on it if you really want.
They're ray tracing Minecraft, man. Ray tracing Minecraft.
Wait. I'm in a weird world right now where Spencer's calling himself. I don't know what the kids are doing. I'm looking at him going, what are you talking about?
It's because I shaved.
He looks so young.
Davina Duckworth with a great
Zoomer representation for our younger viewers.
Sony actually admitted it. Gamers are choosing performance mode, not quality. Okay, well, that's great.
I'll push back on that though. I like quality because I'm not obsessed with 120 frames a second. So,
but some people are obsessed with speed. I mean, the ability to see things, especially in competitive games where you're a couple frames will make a difference. And
if I were like playing Fortnite like Jonas does every night and in the mornings and the afternoons. I haven't played
Fortnite for a week and a half.
Come on, we know you sneak it in there.
We know.
In what, dog time? Like, what is that, an hour and a half?
No, I've been playing a little bit of Astrobot lately. But you know what I really haven't been playing for a long time? Horizon. I have no interest in ever
You're not
playing
picking up Horizon Lego? Or Lego Horizon, whatever it is?
You know, that was funny to me.
Or the VR one.
The Lego version of this game actually looks like it's fun, and Horizon for a bit, or whatever, Zero Dawn, the first one.
Whatever it is.
It doesn't look fun to me. I played it for a little while. It was kind of depressing. It was that same weird mix of technology and primitivism at the same time. It's like, okay, that's fine. I'm bored by this. And also, this girl sadly walking through the landscape just doesn't do it for me.
Can we go back to steampunk games? I miss those.
Ooh.
No.
Please.
Oh, come
Spencer,
on,
come
Spencer.
on.
I'm adamant no steampunk. I hate steampunk.
Boy.
I
love it even more now. I love it more.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, plus the this has been brought up here. Film Watcher 96. I might get the Lego one when it's on sale. I like Lego games. Lego Horizons will eventually be like a $20 game, just like every Lego game is.
Like that, the green lighting of the Lego Horizons game more than anything around the game, and there's a lot of this around the Horizon franchise. Like that decision made me convinced that somebody up there at Sony or Ubisoft, maybe it's even Yves Guillemot, who knows, like they consider Aloy their waifu, and they will do anything to get her just out there because she's made appearances now in like Genshin Impact. She's in this. She's got her own Lego game. But who was clamoring for that? Like when you think of a Lego game, you think of the big franchises out there. You think Star Wars. You think Lord of the Rings. You think Harry.
Something that has a more diverse cast of characters.
So do they want their own Lara Croft though? Is that what they're doing here?
They do want their own Lara Croft, but they don't. They're failing to realize that nobody agrees with them that that's what this character is. This is sort of like they're pushing Aloy way too hard. My best point of reference for that is if you guys, like I just mentioned it, years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, they said, hey, look, Aloy's coming to Genshin Impact. Come and get her. She's an exclusive character. Oh my gosh. There was so little support and interest in her actually being used in the game that they stopped her event before it finished. You cannot use for my Genshin Impact players out there, a full banner Aloy does not exist. You cannot get her 5-star because they just said, nobody's here. All right, forget about it. Like nobody wants Aloy, but they keep pushing her and they keep saying, this is your next video game icon, and it's like she's really, really, really not.
Yeah.
She's
So
their Captain Marvel. She's Sony's Captain Marvel.
I would not disagree, except I think Captain Marvel is in the end a little bit more likable.
Wow.
Spider-Man 2
He has potential.
that's also on this. Of course, Spider-Man 2 is going to be on this list. It was the PS5 and the PS4's top selling game here, and they have to make this hit if it.
Look at what they're saying, though, Jonas. If you look at what they're saying, they don't say this is going to be in 60 frames per second. They don't say, oh, we're upping this. They already said this was a 4K game, right? How is it going to be a high resolution if it's already 4K?
Yeah.
What are you saying? It's going to be 8K? Don't sit there and tell us it's raining when you're doing something else. Be honest with us. They're not being honest with any of this.
Objectively, they've been caught. They've been
60
caught with a
frames
lot
per
of these
second.
games doing 900p and then upscaling and stuff like that, or 1080p upscaling, or 1440p upscaling to 4K. So, like you're saying, Loki, we're being fed, something that's not something. So, we're starting to figure this out, is that the systems, or at least the game developers, aren't doing a very good job with these current gen, I think, consoles at least.
Yeah. Now, what about if Last of Us Part 2 was remastered and then upscaled? Would that make you go back and play this one?
Yeah, I want to see that golf club in 4K is what I want to see.
Yeah, I'm not playing Last of Us 2 until I get it in my VR, so I can really feel the blood splatter on my face.
I'm going to wait.
When I'm hanging out with Joel.
I'm going to wait for Last of Us Part 2 remastered VR remastered again.
And then
Turbo,
you're screaming, it's ma'am, while you're striking him. Right?
They did this one. They actually used Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart as the example for AI upscaling here. It was fine. This is a pretty good looking game.
It does look pretty. I will give it that. That Rift Apart looks really pretty.
Yeah. So my question is, of these titles, which we didn't go through that many here, are any of these making you clamor to get a PS5 Pro versus a PS5?
Well, I
don't want either of them.
Yeah, I'm one of those insane people that I'm just fine with what I got, and if I decide that I need a upgraded gaming experience, I'm going to buy a 24 gigabyte video card, because it comes with all of this stuff and plus. Not to mention
2090?
A 4090. 4090 20.
That's like $3,000 though.
Yeah, but I mean 24 gigabytes of onboard memory.
So half a PS5. Gotcha.
Yeah,
well, so I paid $1,200 for my 3090, and that was right after it came out. But I bought a whole computer when I did that too. I wasn't just buying the video card, and I was really lucky that I got that. And Culture was like, "It's too much, dude. You're not going to use it all. It's too much. It's too much card, man." And
I was right though.
He's right.
Yeah,
but it's still good. I can still run everything in 4K. I can still run everything at max settings. It doesn't overheat. It doesn't flip out. I don't have to overclock anything. It's still working now. And that was like 3.5, 4 years ago when it came out.
But we have to look at gaming, and I think from a perspective of the average person can't afford that. So that's why I think the Xbox did very well with the lower tier system.
Yeah.
It sold like hotcakes.
Yeah, the Xbox Series S at $200. Actually, go ahead and I got something for this right after you're done with that, Space Dave.
It's just the thought of, I agree with Loki. I'd love to spend that kind of dough and have the 4K 120 frames a second, and especially in PC. But most people can't afford that. They're on a tight budget. And so it's as Spencer said, you either get a $500 cracked out 1080p system, or you go for a console, which is very well done. Like you said, the S version of the Xbox sold really well compared to the X, because people are like, yeah, I just want a game. And most people don't notice the difference, at least not you. Like this panel would probably notice 1080p to 4K. I definitely do. But most people don't care because they're playing Minecraft or they're playing something simpler, right? So at the end of the day, the average gamer is happy with that. Now, we get frustrated, as Loki said, because a PS5 for that amount of money on a Pro is just ridiculous. And it's a lot of lies being fed to us about what it does. So that's the other frustration I think we have on this panel. So I don't like to be lied to or exaggerated to.
I'm just going to point out here that you could buy one PS5 Pro for $700, $780 if you want a disc on it, or you could go over to PlayStation Direct and you could get yourself a PlayStation 5 refurbished for $350.
Wow.
Wow.
So I noticed they don't have the 8K on here. Maybe this is the slimline model.
Well, the one on the right, maybe.
This is the digital edition for $350. This is the disc edition
with a drive
for $400 altogether here. I'm thinking these look a little low, so this is probably the slim line. I know it's not slim line on this generation; it's just slim. But
so I have a question about when we talk about the drive now. Does anyone actually use their Blu-ray drive anymore?
I do.
I do.
I 1000% do.
Yeah,
I've got my PS5 set up. That's my like 4K player in my living room. So I used to have it back here, but I wanted the 4K in the living room, and I moved my Xbox into the bedroom. So I just set up my PS5 in my living room, and that's my 4K video player. It looks great on it. Everything looks great on it.
Yeah, I enjoy it too. I just find, admittedly, the Xbox version of the Blu-ray player is a little clunky. I don't really like the software behind it, but the hardware is pretty good. So.
You know what I have noticed when I watch, because I watch TNG. We watch TNG. We're going through TNG again. If I watch it on my Xbox, sometimes at the beginning of an episode, you won't hear any sound. And it takes a second for it to click in. So when he's like, Captain's log, you'll miss Captain's log. It'll just be like 4879255.
That's possibly an HDCP issue, or it's possibly.
Probably. I run into a lot of but
my PS5 doesn't do that. It sound immediately.
Well, they own the Blu-ray. They know how. They own the tech behind that, so they're always ahead of the game.
I'm also going to point out that an open box PSVR 2 is about $400 right now. So you could get a PS5 Slim refurbished and a PSVR, which, by the way, what is there, like 3.5 games for the PSVR?
Hey, I'm going to tell you right now that when you play Skyrim on that VR headset for Sony, it works just fine.
How old is Skyrim now? Is that 16 years old yet?
I got that on PS3. But
the one on PC is so much better. So if the headset for because I've got I can't remember what the heck it was. It's the Valve one. Whatever Valve came out with.
Loki, you spent all that money, that $30.90 to play Skyrim? Is that what?
Well, Elite Dangerous, believe it or not, when you play Elite Dangerous with that VR helmet, that is insanely the eye tracking, your head movement, and your head tracking. When you're in that cockpit and you're going and you've got your stick, your flight stick, and your pedals, and everything's working together. There's no other experience like that. There really isn't. It's one of those crazy things that I tell people, you got to do this at least once.
So Jonas, those refurbished systems will work with everything currently, right? Too. So you got $400, you can get a VR set, you can do everything basically.
Right. There is nothing you can't do on one of the slim refurbished PS5s that you can that is exclusive there. This is not like the DS and the 3DS. This is just a difference of performance, which I don't like the stratification of all these systems. I get it. If you want to do a cheap version, okay, fine. But having 3 levels of PlayStations, I don't like this within a console system.
Isn't there a rumor?
I already don't like it very much with the Xbox Series S and the Series X.
But aren't they about to announce a new system refresh? I heard too coming up here.
Yeah, I heard something about the Galaxy Edition. I don't know if that's a
they have no money, or they have no games. What are they going to do with a new system? They don't have any games on this system.
Hey, easy now.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
You know what?
Space Tape's like easy, Loki.
You're hurting my feelings, Loki.
I'm tired of hearing y'all talk. Let's hear what the audience has to say.
Yeah, they're saying a lot.
Absolutely.
My goodness,
Yes, they are. Makani draws for $20. Thank you, Makani.
Makani!
Always glad to have you here. Awesome. I can't wait to play Concord on PS5 Pro enhanced with ray tracing. Wait, no disk drive and stand? Well, I spent $400 on a physical copy. Wait, the game is shut down.
Yes, it did. It was a rough week for game. Well, no, it was a rough weekend for it was a rough weekend for devs. That's what I wanted to say. It's a rough weekend for devs.
This is the thing with PlayStation. You look at Concord, and then Astrobot, and Astrobot is a lot of fun. And then we get back to the PS5 Pro, and it is. I'm not going to buy one of these things, so essentially it doesn't affect me. But it just makes me wonder what in the world
most
is going
people
on here.
aren't, Jonas. Like most people are not going to buy this. This is insane. Like who said? I think Space Dave said it. This is more than mortgages. Nobody's going to shill this out for something like Loki keeps saying that has a game.
If I'll admit this though, if I were hyper wealthy, because I don't own a PS5, that would be the version I would buy, right? If I'm really wealthy, I would.
I mean, if we were hyper wealthy, we would have a space station where we could host that gameplay live, right?
Yeah,
like
paid $4.99 for that.
I mean,
and that was my.
I promise
this
I
was
didn't
my
tell Spencer about that.
Biggest regret purchase of last year. Was buying this, and I love the way it looks. It plays great. I love the controller, but I still regretted it because it was just. It's sitting in my living room. I've got Rebirth. I could have played Rebirth on my other PS5. I sold my other PS5 to buy that, and I still regretted doing it.
Yeah. Right. And I jokingly I rave about Astrobot because I currently love it, but that is not a game that is worth buying a $500 console for, let alone a $700 or $700.
Oh no.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure. It's I play it right now, especially because my kids are about to jump me if I don't let them play it.
Is it co-op, Jonas? Can you play it with your kids? I have no idea.
No, usually it's me and the youngest. I hand her the controller. And,
I gotcha.
And
then if she needs help.
And then she spends all the coins, though. This is the problem. there's a little
Jonas. It's just gonna get worse as she gets older. It's just gonna get worse.
True. There's a cute little bird that costs 200 coins. That she loves the little birdie. Well, the bird is 200 coins, and it finds all the secrets in the level for you as you go past them. And I'm like, no. This is not as fun because we can't find all the secrets. She's like, but I like the birdie. So, anyways, base player iffy for $5. Graphics aren't advancing because outside of the Cry Games and Rockstar, everyone is using Unreal. No one is using in-house engines.
Have you seen some of these game engines?
Unreal 5 looks good.
Who's leveraging their engine right now? Who's leveraging their engine, Loki?
EA with Frostbite. Frostbite's got an engine. They mentioned the Cry Games, so Far Cry, that's under Ubisoft. They've got their own engine.
I thought they were referencing like Sad Dad, like God of War games when they said Cry Games. And then
really?
I thought. No,
you are right. You guys are right. It is Far Cry, but that's where my mind went first.
Yeah, I was thinking this was talking about all the semi-interactive movies with gay characters that Sony.
Yes,
made.
Exactly, Jonas.
But yeah, those companies just like they were like, we don't want to pay to use Unreal. We'll go and make our own stuff. And what's happened? They're crap. It's absolute turd factory. EA's Frostbite engine is horrible. It's why Mass Effect Andromeda bombed so bad, and Ubisoft's leveraging everything they can get, and they can't make a beautiful woman in a game because of their engine. Those are their own words. That is their own words. Is that the reason why Tammy Faye Lynn Baxter, whatever her name is on Star Wars Outlaws, is not pretty, is because of the limitations of Ubisoft's proprietary engine that they have running their game.
I don't think their engine really understands what baked in lighting means when they do facial character like face.
Oh wow, that's amazing. We're going to talk about Ubisoft for sure in just a minute. Makini draws for 5. Thank you, Makini. I will buy the Pro version if the enhanced features and ray tracing fixes K-Vess's face and Mary Jane in Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, that was a rough go too. My God.
So are we saying we believe these studios that said this was because of the engine?
No.
Is that what we're saying?
No, I don't believe that at all. They know what they're doing. They made Mary Jane into a Mary Sue Karen in both Spider-Man games. I had people argue with me about that first one. Oh no, it's just I said no. They're going to double down in the second one, and that's exactly what they did. She's now like a Midnight Commando in the Howling Master Pack or whatever they have her doing, and she's like Stealth Commando now.
Spencer,
first
do
game,
you
you had to
agree?
play her and deal with
Cash
her.
attack. Dude, the chat is undefeated right now. This is all more remarkable. I'm watching this. Apparently, Don CK says it was the Snowdrop engine on the Outlaws and on Avatar, which is why that looks like
Yeah,
Dark
that makes
Duty.
sense. That tracks.
And Dash Attack says that the low jawline just put too much strain on the engine.
Yeah.
All right. TGB Monster for 5.
Hey!
Hi, everyone. You want to know how bad Star Wars Outlaws is? Mahler was made crazy by the game. The
saw that,
monster of logic. The game drove him mad.
I bet, man.
I was watching some clips. It was hilarious. It was.
I'm telling you, the people that I love that I love for other reasons are playing these games, and now it's just like watching them go, "What is this?" It's just great. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Super fun.
Bad News Badger for 200 Danish kroner. Smile and wave, boys. Smile and wave. Coincidence or what? You can almost pinpoint when studios drank from the Kool-Aid. Say an average game is 4 years in development, but they need to clear the backlog first. So just spot the studio fail and rewind 4 to 6 years. Yeah, and I can't tell you the fact that I know here, but there's a lot left in the chute for a lot of these PlayStation studios.
Ew.
So Spencer, I would ask a serious question. How do we filter out what's not, girl bossing, as you said earlier? Like I think I'm getting confused on what I should and shouldn't, because it's hard when it seems to be that way. Like, how do we deal with it?
The real answer is you should always just pick and play what you like. You should never feel obligated to support something because it, it's on the right side of this, or it agrees with my belief. You should always play a game only if you want to play the game, right? Like, for example, I know a lot of people in our sphere are praising Black Myth Wukong as this great game. Everybody's super excited about it. It's not a game for me. I have zero interest in it, so I'm not going to go out and buy it, and I'm not going to praise it. That doesn't mean I hate it. It's just, it's not for me, right? So that's rule number 1. Rule number 2 is, at least the way I approach it, is you have to look at the narrative, the intention behind all of it, right? With the First Descendant, yes, they have a cast of all female characters or mostly female characters, and they're doing a bunch of cool stuff, but it's not in service of, that's right, we're teaching you a lesson that women can be so powerful, right? They're not getting on a soapbox about it. There's a big distinct difference between, I want to have a woman as a lead character, or a black person as a lead character, or whatever, and I want a black person or woman as a character because it's the right side of history. Don't you want to be on the right side of history? Sort of like the difference you would see between something like there's a comic book based on the Old West lawman Bass Reeves. There's a Bass Reeves comic, and then you have Assassin's Creed Shadows. The Bass Reeves comic is just saying, hey, Bass Reeves is a cool guy. We want to tell a story about him. Let's go. Assassin's Creed Shadow says, oh, we're telling a story about Yasuke because we need to open your guys' minds. You don't know enough. You're so ignorant about how the world works, right? To me, that's what pushes it over from, yes, it might be a girl-led project or a girl-created project, to this is an ideological piece of garbage that I have no interest in even giving the time of day.
Yeah, so we'll have to kind of filter and make sure we take game by game what's going on.
Exactly.
Right?
Unfortunately, there's not a super handy rule that we can sort of, there's no dagger that we can hold up at the shattered remains of the Death Star and figure out where to go. That's because you bought the special dagger from the Disney store for like $80.
Probably more than that.
We just have to use our senses.
I'm going to go find that Death Star once again.
You will find
it on volume, I'm sure.
Jackie Boy for £5. Will PS5 Pro fix the MJ model and make her more attractive? She's supposed to have supermodel good looks. Instead, she's meh. I'd flirt with her drunk. She's in good girlfriend material. Maybe not. Maybe at that stage of life, she's wearing a nice cable knit sweater there. Butter biscuit for $5. Like Spencer said, for the base 700, you could build a good 1080/1440 gaming rig. The price point is tone deaf towards the casual gamers. I'm going to say something that hasn't been said here yet. The developers were probably asking for this more than the customers. Also, the PS4 Pro sold 15 million units. So I'm not thinking they are setting the targets very high on this one, considering how well or not well things have sold so far. So I have a feeling this has limited appeal, but still, that is a lot of money for a single
Jonas,
console.
it's really funny. It's really funny you make that mention about you think the devs want this more, because in the presentation, in that 10-minute presentation, what's his name? Mark Cerny came out and he was like, "Oh yeah, one of the things we always hear from devs is that they don't like making their players choose between both performance and graphic mode." And I'm like, "Oh well, it doesn't mean you charge us $700 for it." So yeah, this was definitely a weird.
Yep.
Yeah,
I agree.
Out...
Spencer, you're cutting in and out, by the way. I don't mean to interrupt you.
No, perfect. That's fine.
But no, and yeah, Spencer, the last couple minutes you've been cutting out. But look, I agree with you 100%. I mean, it was a weird marketing position, Spencer. I mean, because they needed some, right? Look, how do we differentiate this giant box of expense, to people who might want to buy it? And I think they were stretching.
So does this mean Microsoft's going to do like a reverse Uno culture? Remember when Sony did they waited for that announcement of, and then it just came on stage $299, right? So is that what Microsoft can now do? Is come out with a much lower, more reasonable price on an upgrade?
If they feel like they can take the financial hit, you just have to remember Xbox through the first two generations to the third one, every time they put out a console, it was a money loser.
Oh yeah.
It was
except for the 360 near the end of its life. So.
Right. Yeah. But for the first two consoles, those were loss leading consoles to get people into the games. And they had good games back then. I mean, Loki, remember Halo by itself basically made the Xbox.
Oh yeah. Halo made the Xbox. That was the reason you owned an Xbox. Yep. Oh, but I got Grand Theft Auto on my PS2. Well, I got Grand Theft Auto on my Xbox. Plus, you see these 5 little cables in the back? This is for HD. Yeah. What's HD, Loki? Yeah. This is some new stuff you're going to really like one day, because we didn't have the HDMI stuff back in the day. We had like 5 cables. It was like green, light green, blue, red, yellow, and you had to hook all that up to your TV. But if you had a TV that could do it, oh boy, you were in for some. It looks sweet.
Yeah, it was great. Or we can't hear you.
Sorry, to Neil89 for $5. If they change Abby's name to Gigantor, maybe I'll buy.
You go.
That's part of the.
That's
what they really need is story upscaling right there.
Yeah,
that's really what that is a feature that I'll be looking for in the PS6 Pro.
So you want Last of Us 2 remastered remake?
Exactly. Redo all this dialogue so the girls are all in love with Joel, except for the little girl, because that would be weird. And also, everyone needs to be at least a 7, but pushing towards a 9. So,
are you talking about hundreds of pounds?
No. Jackie Boy for £5. I might just get it because I'm extremely stupid and insane. I'm who they are marketing it towards, the idiots and the masochists. Well, Jackie Boy, we're glad to have you here at That Game Place. That's all I have to say.
Me too. Thank
I'm
you.
not against anyone collecting systems too. I mean, I used to do that when I had more money. It's fun, but if you got the money, go for it.
You guys,
last gen, I would have been all in. I would have been like, oh wow, yeah, I was PS4 Pro. Last gen, I was all in on this, and this one, I'm like, you know what? I'll get a Switch 2 if it comes out next year, maybe. I'm not going to get another Xbox or another Sony. It's just not happening. Yeah. I'm kind of done.
I think the next console I pick up is probably going to be a PS4 Pro, because I realize that has pretty good 3D capability.
It does.
3D seems to be going by the wayside. So, yeah,
and it's great for a 3D television. If
I used to own one of those.
Yeah, I own a couple of them, but yeah.
Speaking of next console to buy, Jacob Foxfires for $2. Nintendo $3.99. Is that what they're thinking it's going to be for the Nintendo Switch 2?
No, it'll be more than that.
No, that'll be a little bit more than that. I think it's going to be closer. I think it's going to be closer to $450. Yeah, but
you really think so? They're doing the Steam Deck for like $350 now.
No, I guarantee Culture's right, $450.
Yeah, but again, I mean, the technology is going to be a lot better, and the graphical processor is better this time around. And you're
I
gonna
heard
have backwards-
Tegra 2. Is that correct, or
Yeah,
Tegra 3?
It's one of the new Tegras, and it's got it's backwards compatible, which is very helpful. So it's going to have you'll be
My
able to
concern,
play the two
Culture,
different
correct me if I'm
formats.
wrong. Are they going to stick at 32 gigabytes for their cartridge sizes, which is way too small now?
No, I think that's why they've gone to the cartridge upgrade in the 2. It's going to be a slightly larger form factor, so it'll have more memory on it, more and not only that, I think it's also going to carry the ability to store as well.
Oh, you
So
know
you're
what
gonna-
I would really the upgrade I'm really looking forward to in the Nintendo Switch 2, if they can get rid of that dinky little flap that gets in the way if you don't have like sharp fingernails.
Oh yeah.
Like that would be the improvement that I want. But speaking of things that are improved the way I want them improved, we've got somebody joining the panel.
We do.
He is here in full furry form, Mr. Marvin the Movie.
Holy cow!
Oh, hey guys, sorry I am a
No
little
problem.
late, but
You're good.
better
Good.
late than never, right?
Glad
Good
to
to
have
see
you. I think
Marvin!
we've got so many
Spencer.
super chats. I'm kind of on two. I'm of two minds here, whether or not we can even read all these super chats or whether or not we should get to the Ubisoft story. Here.
Oh, I think we try to do a few more.
Yeah,
because
there's a
we're
lot of people
Josh.
really fired up about the PS5.
Yeah, a lot of people not exactly as thrilled as they would want them to be
Yeah,
over at Sony.
Dash Attack for 5. PS5 is
Wow.
already powerful. Pro Console adds nothing.
Yes,
They
I
made
agree.
it instead of making more games like Astro. We need more old school thinking in gaming.
That's
I
right.
think you're taking away the disk drive, to just continue the assault on physical media.
Well, it's a necessary downgrade, Marvin.
Oh, of course, because that's always a phrase that makes so much sense when you hear it.
But Dash Attack has a great channel. He is a VTuber. Check out Dash Attack. So there you go. That's my promotion for Dash
That's
Attack.
cool stuff.
But
right?
would you guys say that this current generation of gamers they don't consider physical media anymore anyways? Is that
No,
objectively
I
true?
think that's going to come up a lot more often. We just need one more system to stumble. Didn't Sony get really close to tanking a bunch of people's like Warner Brothers Discovery purchases there?
Yeah.
for a
No, they
minute?
did. Discovery revoked people's access to their content that they bought through the PlayStation Store. So if you went and bought like, oh, I love Mythbusters, I'm going to buy all 4 seasons. About 6 months ago, Discovery went, hey, by the way, you can't watch them anymore, and no compensation, no nothing, no, just it's gone. Bye. Have fun with
Wow.
it. Get that. But I think the current generation. I think people I think people still do want their physical media, especially even younger players do, because how many times do we see that come up when a game doesn't get a physical release? People go, I don't want it. Where is the physical release? Give me that. Give me that. I think we're in a war with the developers and the companies who manufacture the hardware because they want us to be that digital, all digital future. We had a Ubisoft exec a couple months ago come out and basically say like gamers got to get used to not owning their stuff. They need to get over this.
We're
mentality.
definitely going to talk about that. Yes.
Right. Yeah. So I think that they want us to shift there. We're not letting them. And it's sort of, I don't really know how it's going to play out because the sad reality is physical media supporters, we don't really have a big advocate out there going, no, get us physical releases, yada, 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 yada. There's no that physical media place, constantly calling everybody out, unfortunately.
So I'm going to say something that's probably going to not be very popular here. I love the idea of digital media. I just don't like that you don't own it because I have way too much stuff. I don't want stuff. I don't want clutter. I don't want stuff. I want to be able to access my, my games no matter what, console I'm on. I have one at my, at my family's house and then one at my house. And if I'm visiting and I'm traveling, then I can access all my games, my whole library. I like that. I don't like the idea that they can just turn it off though. So yeah, that's the thing that makes me very
right. And I actually
I like
you,
the idea. I like the idea of decluttering my life.
Yeah,
Right.
like I love having my PC and being
All right.
able to go like, oh, I'm going to play this game here and that game there. But it's unfortunately like as long as the power exists for them to just steal it back out from under you, we're never going to get that protection unless there's like an amendment put into the Constitution.
Well, let's talk
they
about
just
this,
did
then.
that with
Okay,
360.
let me introduce this here real quick, since we're talking about Ubisoft today. This is from back in January of this year, so not that long ago. Ubisoft exec says gamers need to get comfortable not owning their games for subscriptions to take off. By the way, Ubisoft Plus right now, the premium tier, if you want to play on consoles and on PC, what's what I got in order to play Outlaws, $20. And I would say that I overpaid for that game. An executive at Assassin's Creed maker Ubisoft has said gamers will need to get comfortable not owning their games before video game subscriptions truly take off. Speaking to discuss the launch of Ubisoft's new Ubisoft Plus Premium and Ubisoft Plus Classic subscriptions. I've been through the whole list. It's not very long. Philip Tremblay, director of subscriptions at Ubisoft. Oh, of course, he's director of subscriptions. There's the reason why.
Like, what kind of a position is that?
Yeah. Explain to gi.biz what needs to happen. I don't have a crystal ball, but when you look at the different subscription services that are out there, we've had rapid expansion over the last couple of years, but it's still relatively small compared to other models, Tremblay said.
It's almost empty. Jonas, you know, because you just did this. I haven't even touched their service in like a year. There's nothing there. There's
Really?
the Assassin's Creed games.
What did you play on it before? What did you play on it before? That's the question.
When Ghost Recon, the second game, Breakpoint or whatever it was called, it was when that came out that I got a month of service and I absolutely hated it. And I said, I'm not doing this again. And there's just not enough on there. There's not. There's the Assassin's Creed games.
I know, yeah.
Sims.
It's Ubisoft, man. Like, do you really?
No, Sims isn't on there.
What's
Sims
Ubisoft?
is EA.
Far Cry? Maybe?
Yeah, Far
Rabbids,
Cry.
yeah,
But I own all the Far Cry games. I've got all the Far Cry games. So what? It's not like I'm going to play them on their service because I own them all already.
They do have Starlink on there, though. If anybody wants to play that without the toys involved, there's really not much on there.
The toys are the most fun part.
They are, and I've got two of the R-Wings sitting up.
I was going to say, you better have the R-Wings, Jonas.
Yeah, and Heroes of Might and Magic. That's actually the one I'm most interested in when I look at all of that. There's really nothing on there. They probably have more strength in a single franchise collection here than they would in actually selling this as a subscription. I'm also going to point out that this is 2024 that this article came out. Again, not 2020. This is not pie in the sky. Everybody's stuck at home. This is a streaming a video game streaming service that is in the age when everyone is trying to get away from subscription models. So this is 4 years too late for the gold rush on this, and they're over here where Xbox is again trying to get away from subscription services. PlayStation is retooling their subscription services, and Ubisoft is over here saying, "Oh, me too," but like with an amazing amount of delay, years worth of delay on when this would be a good idea.
Yeah, I think, you know, obviously they're talking more about things like Game Pass and subscription services, like you're saying, but yeah, that I guess that does carry over into the world of digital. Digital media, and it is a scummy thing to say, and it comes from the scummiest company on the planet who are getting what they rightfully deserve right now.
Agreed.
You don't say things like this to the public. You keep that in your boardroom and plan.
For
it.
real.
It's just a foolish thing to say. It's foolish.
Well, I think when people are like, oh, well, we want more subscriptions, and he's like, well, then people, you know, some people might want more subscriptions, but as a whole, gamers don't seem to want it very much. They just want the physical games. And if we're going to expand on these concepts, then people are going to have to get way more comfortable with them. So
yeah, here's the quote, and that's you're right on the money. One of the things we saw is that gamers are used to, a little bit like DVD, having and owning their games. That's the consumer shift that needs to happen. They got comfortable not owning their CD collection or DVD collection. That's a transformation that's been a bit slower to happen in games as gamers grow comfortable in that aspect. You don't lose your progress. If you resume your game at another time, your progress file is still there. That's not been deleted. You don't lose what you've built in the game
until the server shuts down.
Right, with the game.
Until the server shuts down. That's right.
So it's about feeling comfortable with not owning your game. I still have 2 boxes of DVDs. Oh, he's just like us, guys. Just 2 boxes of DVDs.
Hey,
Wow,
kids.
so relatable. We should
Right next
listen
to the other boxes. I definitely understand the gamer's perspective with that, but as people embrace that model, they will see these games
Yeah.
will exist, the service will continue, and you'll be able to access them when you feel like. That's reassuring. Yee.
No, you won't. What just happened with the Xbox 360?
Yep.
I had so I bought my kids. My kids loved Thundercats. I got my kids the original series. This was through the Microsoft Marketplace, whatever that thing used to be
Mhm.
on Xbox
Yeah, that digital
360.
storefront.
that
Yeah,
we
I know.
covered
The
that
digital
shut down.
storefront.
Yeah.
When they shut that down, you lost access to everything. They told you if you have not downloaded your episodes to your hard drive, you will no longer be able to watch this stuff.
That's
I can't
bonkers.
watch
It's like
it.
the
That's
opposite of
insane.
every other company out there. Like I know so many, like even Apple does it, right? Oh, we delisted this app, but if you have it, you can still grab it from the server. It still exists.
And those won't
bonkers.
work on Xbox One. That's just on those videos. You cannot play them on Xbox One,
Yep.
Xbox One X. You cannot do that because that program only exists on the 360. So when that was done, it's done. You've lost everything. Luckily, I just had the original Thundercat series and I had the remake that was done in like the early 2000s. But still, I lost all that. Do I have it on disc? Yeah, I got it on disc. But that happened way later. So you can lose all your stuff. This is money I spent. I'm not getting that money back. Of course, my kids watched it 100 times. But still, I'm not getting that money back and it's gone. I can't access it.
I'm also going to point out right here. I don't know if this is popping up on screen, but this
Yeah.
is what they were worth in January.
You got it.
February of 2021, $84. So this statement was made right here, January of this year.
84 euros. Don't give
Oh,
them
did I
the
say
privilege.
euros? It is
the
euros.
privilege of our American great dollar.
But euros are worth more now, aren't they? Or a little
Quiet,
bit?
you. Quiet.
I think.
And today, of course,
Can I get a moderator to fact
$12.
check that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, how about we fact check the fact that the British pound is worth more than the dollar?
Yes.
Yeah. So I just want to point out that these are the statements of a company that is always trying something here. So let's get a couple more super chats and then we'll talk about what's going on at Ubisoft, because Ubisoft is in trouble. The Guillemot family is in big trouble. They're in big with the Chinese mob back there, and that's not even a joke. Jacob Foxfires for $5. My predictions: I am feeling more and more confident about Sony's arrogance will bring us back to the 1980s, where Nintendo is the only guy on the block.
Ooh,
At least with Nintendo, they will behave the same, even if they're the only guy on the block.
Yep.
They're some of the most cutthroat.
Yeah.
I think
They
guys on the planet.
They
It's
at least do it in a
analysis.
way that they think they're offering you something. I sincerely think that Nintendo believes in every product that they throw out there, except for Mad World. But if anyone remembers that one, Siani Reese for
Still
$1.99.
mad they didn't support it.
Let's see. Can I play the new Astrobots on the original 5? Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
That's the one that I am playing it on. And Astro's Playroom is still there. Here's something that you can fix, Sony, if you're paying attention to this. If you have sat through an hour of us ripping into the PlayStation 5, there's a little portal in Astro's Playroom in the second Secret Labo section. That goes to the shop portion of to buy Astrobot. If you have Astrobot on your system, it should take you into Astrobot. Just saying, that might be a nice touch. Horn Tripoli Undernet for $4.99. I place curse that makes you want to play this naughty game as we speak. This name Action Taimanin. All the Deathborn clips you guys played. Deathborn.
We are now cursed with this awful responsibility.
For $1.99 more, play it, as next month is anniversary for It and Good.
I bet it's good.
The next game that I'm playing on a stream is probably Astrobot. I just have to go through the effort of it. I think I know how to get a stream to work properly, by the way, to get that PlayStation 5 up to my office so I can play it up here. My kids will be like, where's it going? It's coming back, right? Base Player 2011 Iffy for $4.99. Oh, look, another Souls-like, but this time it's Journey to the West for the story. Shut up and take my money.
Yes. And that's what everybody did. It sold 10 million copies in 3 days. 3.
I still don't give a crap about it.
Yeah.
I don't even people who bought it and are terrible at it think the game is very good.
Yeah.
I'm just speaking from maybe experience.
Yeah.
Wait, experience? Huh? Huh?
I'm also going to point out, me and Vash put on a clip that was the Darth Maul mod for this game, and it looked amazing. Absolutely amazing.
It's a shame we'll never get that game.
Yeah. Jackie Boy for £5. If they want a girl boss main character, there are plenty of inspirations. First one that comes to mind is Nicole Kidman's character in Atomic Blonde.
Oh,
wait.
fair.
Hold on before anybody says it. For £5 additional, I mean Charlize Theron. I got my actresses mixed up, but my comment still stands. There are inspirations.
Jennifer Lawrence
for good girl boss character.
hey, Jennifer Lawrence was really good in that recent dating movie.
She was the first ever female action star. So
Yeah.
you know,
she was also the first ever developer to use ray tracing in a video game. I don't know if you guys knew that.
I did not know that.
I love you, Spencer. Base player for $4.99. Oh yeah, Last of Us 2 will probably be released on PC on or around the time Season 2 is launched. Just another reason to ignore Sony. This is a really good point about a PS5 Pro. If you can build your own PC, why would you, and all of their games are eventually coming out on PC, why would you bother buying a PS5 Pro? It has to be a super specific set of circumstances here.
You don't
Again,
need
if
to.
you got money to burn,
if you've got money to burn, if you've got the money to burn on the system, you can get a PC that looks better and runs better. If you've got the money to burn on it.
The biggest thing from console to PC for me personally is that I like to sit on a couch and play. So I like to relax, right?
You can sit on a couch and play on your PC.
Yeah. It's not the same. I want to work when I'm on a PC usually too.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
You've got God of War coming out
biggest...
this month. You've got God of War 2 coming out on PC this month. You've got Final Fantasy 16, the complete edition, coming out on PC this month. You've got Final Fantasy VII Rebirth coming soon.
Someday, I swear.
You've got Spider-Man 2 coming soon. It's all coming. So if you just wait, if you're patient and you own a computer, you can play everything that's coming out.
Right. Bingo.
Yep.
Also, Loki, to your point, I know exactly what you mean because I'm just like you. It's much comfier to play video games like sitting on a couch. What a PC needs, what it lacks is like a good, easy UI that you can use with like a controller. Because I think like having to use your mouse or trying to use your controllers like touchpad to try and use your little cursor to click on, that's not fun or intuitive.
Okay,
and that alone
Steam
makes me go,
that.
okay.
Steam did try that.
Steam
It works.
tried it. It's all right. It's a little janky, but yeah, that's a good first step. But I think if somebody came out there and made like a third-party app or something, they would easy market share, easy market win.
So you're saying stream from your computer onto your TV type app?
No. So like you can hook up, you can take like Jonas is going to do when he wants to stream Astrobot. You can physically move your PC to your like wherever you want to do it. Like if you want to go into your living room, you can hook it up to your TV and output it to the TV. The problem is once you get it there, there's no, like when you boot up a PlayStation, there's that awesome like scroll menu where everything is selected, easy tap on your controller, one button push slides it over. You don't get that. You'll have to, your controller still acts like a mouse. So you've got to like go and use your touchpad.
This is all really great. Guys, we got 2 more super chats to read before we get to the Ubisoft story. This is a great video for another day, I think.
Let me real quick, bro, Jonas. If you boot your computer into Steam Big Picture mode,
that's all.
And you can.
Yeah, but that's also complicated too. I don't want to reboot into a new mode. I want to.
You don't have to. You can turn it off when you're in there, and you just go to desktop. You're in the desktop. All I'm saying is when your computer starts and it boots up, it immediately goes into Big Picture mode in Steam. So all you have to do is shut it off, and you're back to your desktop. If all you're doing is a gaming system, you don't ever have to even look at Windows. You can just go straight to Steam Big Picture mode.
Spencer, this is the greatest controller ever made in my hand. It's the Steam controller.
That's not the Power Glove.
No, it has.
That's not the gender neutral Stadia controller.
This has all of the buttons, all of the touch pads, everything. It's got multiple triggers and hats. It also has palm triggers right here. And this came with a box that you could plug into your television that would run your PC stuff from your computer.
But I don't want
one
to
of
stream
those
it. I
up,
want it direct play.
Culture?
Huh?
Yeah. Where do
I
you
don't want to
pick one of
stream
those
it. I
up?
want it to be
Culture?
direct play.
Yeah.
I don't know that you still can. But
No,
You
that's
can't.
they shut that.
They
down.
don't make them. They don't
but,
make them anymore.
But this is
I thought they shut that place down.
They did. This is the greatest thing ever made. And I can still use it to play regular games, without the little control box gizmo. This was the best investment I made at the time, and I didn't really appreciate it until it stopped being available. So
Now I have to call Gabe Newell if I want another one. Machini draws for $10. PS5 Pro announcement misses one important detail. Where are the games? And we mean upcoming PS5 Pro exclusives, not enhancing previous titles.
Enhance.
Yeah, I agree, because it's not a system selling feature, right? You gotta, like we said about the first Halo game, it was a system seller. You want to sell a system, throw an exclusive game on it, see what happens. You'll do much better, I believe.
That's
Historically,
good.
it's proven.
In previous Pro, systems, we never had exclusive games to the Pro system. I mean, there was no PS4 Pro exclusive.
Yes, there was. That's what Miles Morales. Miles Morales is a PS4 Pro exclusive. It cannot run on the regular PS4.
I did not realize that. I was going to point out as well, there was not for PlayStation, but 3DS, the new 3DS.
Oh,
Yep, that too. Xenoblade Chronicles, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, so it's rare, and it's just like the dying breaths of a console cycle, but it does happen on occasion.
Just a quick reminder that Miles Morales is Miles Morales.
Oh man, that is the most. The fact that both characters are called Spider-Man in that game just drives me nuts. Spider-Man calling Spider-Man Spider-Man. It's like, guys, seriously, can you grow up and realize that this isn't the best way to do this? Jacob Foxfires for $20. The all digital hellscape I don't like, and with Sony's push to go more digital and maybe even stop making consoles, Nintendo is going to be the only one to provide physical. They will have a market all to themselves, and the only one left will be that little goblin sitting on top of its own little hill, limited run games over there, and I don't want to give them that much power.
I agree with that, but the reason for that is because both Microsoft and Sony are also entertainment people, or at least they're outside of game consoles specifically. Whereas Nintendo gets its bread and butter from that, so it kind of understands it better.
Yep. I'm going to say this as I pour my tea into my mug. I'm going to say this: the worst thing ever to happen on the planet was when Sony elected to move their interactive entertainment division to the United States and give them control.
I agree.
That
now,
was bad.
We are about to talk some Ubisoft here, and but before we do that, unfortunately, Space Dave is about to be out of our radio signal. Radius.
Yeah, I gotta go rescue some people from the space station. They're still stranded there. So
take them a pizza.
Yeah, he's gonna take him a pizza until Elon could get up there to rescue him. So there you go.
That's right.
And they don't like Tang. Thank you so much for being here, Space Dave. Do you have anything you want to tell anybody about?
Not at the moment. Life is taking a curveball, so I'm not going to promise anything other than I enjoy being here, and I thank you for the pleasure, and it's great to be on the panel. Thank you so much.
Glad to have you here, Space Dave. We wonder what shirt you wear. Sorry, I'm going to stop making
no more quips. Thanks for joining us, Space Dave. And I have one thing to interrupt with as Space Dave leaves the station to go rescue those astronauts. This is not on time still. You guys are insane with the super chats, so thank you for that. This is the current leaderboard as of today.
Woo!
And even this is wrong because
you have Machini on here twice.
Well, no, Machini is platinum. He's the leader from the clubhouse for the month. But Bad News Badger actually has now slipped, I think, all the way to bronze. So I'm keeping up as best I can, folks. But thank you for your wonderful, generous contributions. I'm madly writing down things, changing the leaderboard. But thank you all. We acknowledge you and we appreciate you. So
thank you guys. Got to go. Take care.
Thank you.
See you, Space Dave.
See you, Space Dave.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Oh,
steal
man,
that from you, culture. I'm totally gonna nab that
dude,
from you.
you don't have to
Sponsor of the day is.
Yeah. You don't have to steal it. Just use it. I stole it. Look, good. Good writers borrow, and amazing writers steal outright. So that's the same notion. Right? Just steal.
You know who we're going to steal from at this moment is that Park Place.
Oh, hey, I know this guy.
Ubisoft stock price drops 7% as company faces pressure from investors to take company private, and Star Wars Outlaws sales are soft. The word that is missing from this headline is proxy battle right here. It's from John F. Trent over there at that Park Place. Look at that. Did they put some lipstick on her? I don't think they did. Ubisoft, the company behind Star Wars Outlaws, X-Defiant, Assassin's Creed, and they also bought Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six, saw its stock price drop 7% in a single day as it faces pressure from investors to take the company private, as well as reports of soft sales for Star Wars Outlaws. Stock price fell to $13.67. Just verifying here that it's actually at 12.01 now. So even worse than all that. Most recent stock drop comes in the wake of Star Wars Outlaws reportedly having soft sales, as well as a Slovakian investment firm AJ Investments urging the company to go private. Here we go. What's the intro on this guy? Yeah, games industry head Christopher Dring detailed the Star Wars Outlaws launch sales are 55% lower than Star Wars Jedi Survivor.
Yep,
it was 15% bigger than Ubisoft's massive last game, Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora. That is not a good indication for Frontiers of Pandora.
No.
That's two Disney properties in a row that
with Avatar
I guess Star Wars Jedi Survivor is, yeah.
Avatar does extremely well when it comes out in theaters, and then outside of that, no one cares about anything else involving Avatar.
That's true.
That is very true. Now, I've been doing some research on Ubisoft here, and I went through some of their history. This is a company that was founded that got into technology after the fact, despite the fact that this is a 1980s company. This is not like, to make reference to my favorite developer here, this is not a card game company that eventually got into games and then into video games. This is a company that in the 80s was founded as 5 MBAs coming together from the same family to do things. And one of their ventures was selling CDs. And then eventually they were a wholesaler of UK games over in France. So they figured out it was cheaper to import games from the UK and sell them in France rather than try to develop them in France. So that was Ubiquitous Software, otherwise known as Ubisoft, eventually becoming Ubisoft. In 2004, EA bought 20% of this company out of the blue, with I'm going to say without talking or without the permission of the guys who run Ubisoft, mostly the Guillemot family. That eventually, they eventually sold those shares about 6 years later. And then Vivendi, otherwise known as Vivendi Universal, back in that era, bought 10% in 2015. And this really interesting quote came from the head of Ubisoft at the time. When you're attacked with a company that has a philosophy, you know it can affect what you've been creating from scratch. So you fight with a lot of energy to make sure it can't be destroyed.
Wow. Well, if only they'd listen to that now. Where are those words now? Because, I mean, from everything we've seen and the leveraging of the Ubisoft engine, they sure have, exactly what you were just talking about. They sure have an agenda that they're pushing over there at Ubisoft.
So I totally agree with what you're saying here. It's like going back to those statements from George Lucas about preserving film back before he started meddling with the Star Wars trilogy. So 10.5% in 2015 jumped to 20% the next year that Vivendi owned. And then before the end of 2016, it jumped to 23%. The Guillemots raised their stake to 20%. And Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Did I say that correctly? Yeah, 25% by the end of the year. By 2018, Vivendi ends up almost hitting a 30% threshold in France, which, Culture, did you have something to add as far as the context for what happens in France when an outside party ends up taking 30%?
Yeah, there's this weird thing about like something called the French minority rule which France's minority rule when it comes to stock investment. I was asking you behind the scenes, like, did you ever heard of anything like that? And can we get that here in the States? But it means that minority shareholders can actually force a sale if enough of them get together. That's crazy.
It is crazy. And I think about, of course, we're very focused on the proxy fight that just happened with the Disney company here. And thankfully, Vivendi backed off at this point, and they started selling up all of those shares. But who did they sell some of their shares to? Tencent.
Oopsie.
Anybody want to give a quick profile on Tencent?
Tencent is China.
Yes.
Profile done. No, seriously. Any business doing business in China, especially something of size, is about 50% owned by the government themselves, the CCP. So when you do business with a Chinese company, you're doing business with the government of China. And so Tencent has been kind of worming their way into all of these giant game companies and kind of setting them up for eventual failure. I'm glad that the guy over at Epic has figured out, I don't really want you guys in here as much as you might want to be in here.
Yeah, they're for the moment, and they still own part of Epic as well. But they seem to have been stopped for the moment. Well, also, I'm going to say Tencent bought 50% of the Guillemot family holdings here. So the company that actually owns the Guillemot family's shares in Ubisoft is also owned by Tencent at this point. So the Chinese government. So with that being said, let's continue on. Data seemingly reflected in a report from True Trophies detailed that the game only hit 25th place in its top 40 most popular PlayStation games chart the week it debuted. We all know that they didn't do very well. On top of what looks like poor sales, AJ Investments sent an open letter to the board of directors of Ubisoft urging the company to go private or sell to a strategic investor. In the letter, the investment firm specifically took issue with Ubisoft's lowering of its revenue outlook for the second quarter when Star Wars Outlaws released. The firm wrote, recent quarterly results, which included the postponements of key games like Rainbow Six Siege and The Division into the 2025 lineup, and a lowered revenue outlook for 2024, have heightened our concerns about management's ability to deliver value to shareholders over the long term. Share price for Ubisoft decreased more than 40% over the last year compared to rise of its competitors and indexes. By the way, we've got the copy of the letter here.
Yay!
By the way, I think I'm gonna call out my good friend Pro here. He corrected you because he said that you were talking about the Blackstone Grill. No, this is Blackstone. This is different than Black Rock.
Yeah. It's fine, and I didn't mind at all. It wasn't worth quibbling about. But Blackstone is primarily interested in real estate holdings, but they do take parts and stuff like this. But
they do,
yeah. So it's fine. I mean, I got a little worried when I saw the KK and then another letter that looks similar.
I don't think they own Ubisoft right now.
No, I'm just saying.
Yeah, so here's what they're saying. The Ubisoft valuation should be 40 to 45 euros per share. So, 3 to 4 times its current value. Concerns are they would like for the company to be delisted from the stock exchange and for the Guillemot family and Tencent to do this at a fair price, allow a sale process with investors to fight against the Guillemot family with so-called proxy fight at extraordinary shareholder meeting, meaning another shareholder meeting. This might be translated from Slovakian to French to English, so there might be some interesting anomalies there. Change of the current management, start hiring process of new CEO who will optimize the cost and studio structure for more agile and competitive company as Ubisoft should be. Use the French minority law to collect enough shareholders to start proxy fight and initiate sale process of Ubisoft to increase shareholder value for shareholders. And they go into their they're thinking for the valuation of the company. So I'm going to point out, as we often do when talking about Disney, we never say that Disney is going to go bankrupt. That's just not something that we say. And because there's too many levers that they can pull there. There are too many assets to sell. With Ubisoft, there is a real risk here that this company will actually go bankrupt. And I don't think anybody wants that. Because a lot of people would lose their jobs, and there would be even more layoffs for this company. Maybe some people want it. Let me see if I can find in here whether or not the recent layoffs were included here. Ubisoft has had, I think, 3 different rounds of layoffs, 2 of them very recently, and 1 at the first part of the year. So this is a company that is constantly in flux, constantly trying to restructure. They're obviously, they just closed the division, and sorry, that's the wrong name to call it. They closed the division that originally worked on Rainbow Six, and they're sending any assets that they can from there to work on Rainbow Six at a different studio, not the original studio for Rainbow Six. So I think Ubisoft is in massive trouble at this point.
I think Ubisoft deserves to be in massive trouble. I think if Ubisoft goes bankrupt, I don't think anyone should really be shedding tears for them, because they did this to themselves.
Yeah.
Ubisoft got caught by the mind virus, because they were saying things like, weren't they saying things in Assassin's Creed like, oh, a female protagonist will never sell, we can't have female protagonists, and then they got caught with that and overcorrected to such a degree that now they've gone so far in the other direction that now nobody wants to play their games anymore.
Well, it's because the family was being called out and they didn't want to be, put in a legal headlock in France, which that can happen to you at any time because people can claim whatever they want. But no, you're right. I mean, they went out of their way to avoid it because the family members were being implicated in some bad behavior. And so they rolled over and did the whole, they listened to somebody saying, hey, it looks like you got a really nice game studio here. It'd be a shame if, somebody torched it.
I wonder who that was.
Well,
Yeah,
look at what they have done to their games. I mentioned Ghost Recon earlier. Go back to Ghost Recon Wildlands. Go forward from there. Yes, Wildlands is a great game. However,
dude, I'm still playing it. I'm still playing it.
You get the Uber edition culture. You get these 2,000 coins that you can buy stuff in the store with. What do you buy stuff in the store? You can buy weapons, so where when you start over, when you start a new game, you get that weapon right away, or you get that silencer right away, or you get that rocket launcher, or whatever it is. You can get it right away instead of having to earn it in the game. Yeah. Look at Assassin's Creed, which started with Origins. Oh, buy this Uber pack and you get crafting materials that are really hard to find in the game. But wait a minute. This is a single player game. This is not a multiplayer game. I'm not playing an MMO. Why do I need uber rare orange crafting materials that you could only get from beating certain bosses in a single player game? And they did it with Valhalla. They did it with all of them.
Yeah. When I played Odyssey and I got to that point where all of a sudden the next mission, you have to be like 15 levels ahead of where you are. And they were like, oh, and by the way, you can buy this thing that'll let you level up faster. I was like, are you kidding me? I hate this right now. And then I hated myself because I bought it.
Well, the grind. See, and that's the thing. You should not have a grind in a single player campaign. That should be not part of a mechanic that exists in the game. It's baloney sausage.
And that's Ubisoft. That's Ubisoft over the last decade.
It's the monetization of everything. And Origins and Odyssey, it just got progressively worse. And then you get to Valhalla, which, by the way, notice the sales fell off for Valhalla. They're going the wrong direction. They're alienating their consumers.
And that's why when you say like, oh, nobody, it would be such a shame people will lose their jobs. No, if you do that to people, if you do business practices like that, you deserve to lose your job. I'm sorry. At a certain point, you deserve to lose your job.
I'm also going to point out here, because this quote is just too delicious here. The main reason why the valuation is so low compared to the peers is that Ubisoft at current state is mismanaged and shareholders are hostages of the Guillemot family members and Tencent who take advantage of them. Management is focused on pleasing investors with beating quarterly results and not focusing on long-term strategy to provide exceptional experience for the gamers. Our company has extensive knowledge about the gaming industry, and we were long-term shareholder in Activision Blizzard, and we started our Ubisoft position a couple of weeks ago and still adding to it. So this actually sounds like a threat to take over the company at this point, because this is not a large shareholder. This is a 1% shareholder, but that 1% is someone who should be listened to by nature of holding 1% of the company. That's high enough that they should be listened to, but this sounds like a warning. We cannot understand the decision-making process of current management that is focused on releasing multiple average games per year that are harming Ubisoft's reputation among gamers community, instead of focusing to provide hit games within its exceptional franchise portfolio. Division Heartland, which was very much expected from the gamers, was canceled. Skull and Bones release was not a success. Prince of Persia Lost Crown was okay, but not very impressive, as nobody talks about the game anymore. Rainbow Siege is doing great. Nevertheless, franchises such as Rayman, Splinter Cell, by the way, 2 fantastic franchises.
Yes.
For Honor, Watch Dogs are sleeping for years, despite these games are loved by millions of players all around the world. Latest release of Star Wars Outlaws is also expected to bring good numbers, but recent reviews show the game was not 100% ready to release. Despite the fact that the whole world was waiting for open world game under the Star Wars franchise, the Metacritic rating was 76% and IGN was 7 out of 10, which is quite good rating in our view. Again, Slovakian to French to English. Who knows what the translation process was here? But I love hearing an investor go through and say, hey, we looked at your game. We played your game. We understand your product. You are mismanaging what's going on here. This isn't Nelson Peltz coming in and saying, by the way, I went to one of your theme parks once, which he has every right to do over there at Disney. This is someone, it sounds like someone who knows what should be happening here with Ubisoft, that is saying, you missed the mark, guys. Something has to change. Also pointing out the Guillemot family, obviously the people who founded this, and Tencent. So,
well, also, Jonas, I'll remind you really quick, they lied to the investors. The board lied to the investors. And he admits it right there. They said, Star Wars is gold. It's ready. It's done. It's shipping. We're finished. We've leveraged our Ubisoft engine to the fullest capabilities that it can go to. And they told the investors it had already gone gold and was ready to ship.
Yep. Yeah, here we go from Guillemot. The game has gone gold, so the date is well confirmed for August 13th. And as you mentioned, we'll be showcasing more content of a very high quality, multiple hours that will really show the depths of the open world. Hey, Loki, how long did you play Star Wars Outlaws? How long did you tell me this game plus the side missions takes?
Oh, I think it was like 15 hours.
15 hours.
Single player, mind you. That's not nothing to do with multiplayer. That's just to get from A to B with all the side missions and everything. If you boot Scoot and Boogie, 15 hours.
The game is lackluster. I cannot understand. This is the kind of trash that gets released that you forget about. It's not even a fun tie-in game. I'm reminded of Iron Man for the Wii, which was a little undercooked, but it was still a lot of fun to fly around and blast things as Iron Man. This right here doesn't even feel like Star Wars. Someone else out there larger than me in the space might have said something similar. Before we move on to other stories here, does anybody have anything they want to throw in?
I have a feeling that we'll be looking at a different Ubisoft a year from now.
I have a feeling we won't be looking at Ubisoft a year from now.
Wow. That's dire. But I can understand where your concern is.
Yeah, I'm gonna point this out right here. Tencent Holdings, 300 million invested euros, by the way, at 80 cents per share. 80 per share valuation in 2022, and part of that 300 million went for debt repayments, and the rest to buy undervalued shares of Ubisoft. So there was a share buyback at the time in order to strengthen the Guillemot family's holdings here, and then Guillemot Holding bought 4 million shares at 19 euros per share last year. So there's a lot of defensive moves here. I don't know. I think that the Guillemot brothers probably need to lose control of this company. And right now, I don't know if it's Tencent that's going to do it, because I think they've got more money than anybody else at this point. Those Chinese companies tend to wave around a pretty big cash purse. And hopefully it's not China that takes over Ubisoft, because that's going to be a tragedy for all of those great franchises that were listed here. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. But I do know that I'm about to read some super chats. Base player Iffy for $2. If buying isn't owning, then piracy isn't. Assassin's Creed Black Flag comes to mind.
Yeah.
Yo ho, brother.
Oh, Billy Riley.
Arg.
Tenil 89.
I love singing those, by the way, the shanties.
Oh yeah.
I focus on collecting them when I replay the game.
There's that one shanty from the game. There once was a squad that readied up, ready to say what's up. Their hopes were high for a win that day. Oh, me squaddy boys go. Oh wait, that's from Fortnite. Tenil 89 for $2, as gone
Fortnite.
As Ubisoft's stock value. Yeah, Ubisoft, they are in danger.
They are.
Tenil 89 for $5 more. Does Ubisoft's leadership problem get solved with Guillemot? Because France.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you hear the people singing the songs of angry men?
Yeah, there
Get
you
the
go.
Red Queen in here right now.
That's
Queen of
right.
Hearts.
I
Yes.
just
Yeah.
picture all these people at Ubisoft. Red, the blood of angry men. Black, the...
That theater place coming to that park
Yeah,
place.
yeah.
I look for any excuse to show that off.
Yeah.
You did a fine job.
I'm reminded.
Now I want a whole Marvin musical. That was pretty
Me
damn
too.
good.
Me too.
You should hear him do Ethel Merman songs. Tenil 89 for $5. Oh wait.
I'd have to be 80 years old to know what you're talking about.
I've never been.
I'm completely kidding.
I've never been one for I Love Lucy.
Singing Ferret for £10. Only 2 boxes of DVDs. I don't know how many I've got on bookshelves, and this is the reason I have the 80s He-Man and Thundercats. Just have to save up to buy the 80s She-Ra
on DVD. Yeah, indeed.
By the way, you were talking about the Star Trek: The Next Generation. I've got the Blu-rays over here, and I'm just going through and scouring. They're so good. Robert Meyer Burnett did such a fantastic job.
Oh yeah.
On that.
Yeah. RMB, indeed.
Yep. Butter Biscuit for $5. Forget DEI. All of their games have been copy and paste for the last decade. Watch Dogs, Far Cry, nothing innovative. Oh, Assassin's Creed. Nothing innovative.
Yes, thank you, Butter Biscuit.
They're boring.
Like I at the very end there, you were like, oh, all these poor franchises at Ubisoft. And I'm like, what franchises? They're all so terrible nowadays. They haven't been good for decades.
Culture.
Actually, they've innovated on their microtransaction models.
That is true. And you can climb so many towers to unlock so many maps.
I remember when I was playing Assassin's Creed, not Brotherhood. What was the one after that? I forget the name of the last one where you play as Ezio directly.
Revelations.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
And I was even at that point, I was like, "Wow, this engine is getting really old." When are they going to do another one?
Yeah, they did. They upgraded, but what's really great is that you had a couple of good games out of each of the franchise IPs they created. And then after that, it started to fall off. I mean, I would argue the last good game that they made for Assassin's Creed was Black Flag, which we were just talking about, the sea shanties. I don't know that anybody would argue with me. When you get watch.
I liked Syndicate.
Yeah, sure, but right. I mean, I liked being able to switch back and forth. Was that the one between the twins?
Yeah, when you play as the twins.
Yeah. And that was a standout for a whole different reason. I mean, the architecture there they nailed it. I mean, it was like, holy cow, I'm in the UK. But anyway, the other ones would be Watch Dogs 1 and 2 were good. even though they switched gears in Watch Dogs 2. You get to Watch Dogs 3, which is Legion. That thing fell off the cliff, and it was garbage sauce. It was DEI the game. Then, have you noticed a pattern? Like we're seeing all the DEI the games. That's all they've got now. So same thing with Far Cry. Far Cry was great. We got to 4, and I was like, okay, this is weird, right? And that was the one that had the bad guy Gus Fring from Breaking Bad.
No, that's 5. 4 was the one with the guy in Tibet.
6 is the one with Gus Fring.
Yes, yeah, 6 is the one. The 5 one was the American one. 4 was in Tibet, and then 6 was with Gus Fring in Cuba.
All right. Well, then regardless, you rewind too. And when they were in India,
let's just point out that guy is Dutch, by the way, and he's pulling one of those play any race shenanigans.
I have nothing. You mean not Kamala, Amandala? Hey, how come they all have A's at the end of their name? Anyway, I'm just saying is that each one of those did have a falling off point, and it was usually after X number of iterations. Like I said, I think the last good game that I've played is Wildlands, and I still play it. It's that good. I go back and I still play it, but I only
Ghost Recon,
yeah. So nobody's. I don't think anybody's playing Rainbow Six anymore, and they really aren't if they're going to be an operator in a wheelchair.
I was going to say somebody is. They got that wheelchair representation dropping.
I'll feel very represented as I'm sitting down on my couch. You know?
I look, and I just want to hit the scoreboard because I think I got it right. Here you go. It's underneath the super chat. There you go. So Makini for the month leaderboard. Today he's got the gold trophy. Bad News Badger is the silver, and bronze is Jacob Foxfire. So there you go. That's so far today.
By the way, I need to point this out. I was wrong. He's not Dutch. He's from Denmark. It's Giancarlo.
You damn Nordics.
Alessandro Esposito, and he's Italian and of course African American in there, but he often plays
everything,
Cubans and Mexicanos. So no issue here. I'm just pointing out that I appreciate when there are actors who can slip in and out of different roles. I just think it's funny in our modern age that they're like,
they haven't caught him yet, Jonas.
That's right. That one Maori guy that was playing every single ethnicity in LA.
Oh yeah, I know who you're talking about. Crud.
He was Travis on Fear the Walking Dead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I just want to remind everybody that that's an actor's job is to slip in and out of any role they're given. So
yeah.
Cliff that's Harvey Weinstein's. Anyway.
Yeah. Right. I have no problem with it. I just think it's
thank you.
Anyways,
what was that show that he did where it was like a super EMP basically?
Revolution.
Okay. Yeah, I hated that show.
I was so disappointed when it was like, oh, there's a magic reason why it doesn't work. I'm like, okay, forget about it.
And we can bring it back.
Like, no. That's not what I'm here for, JJ. Yep. Thank you. Move along. Go ruin Star Wars.
Oh, that was a JJ show.
Let's talk about this one, though. Former owner of Concord developer shaken to the core by game's failure, but ignoring any discussion of DEI or wokeness leading to its downfall.
Oh, yeah, why would he?
Let's see. The former owner of Firewalk Studios, probably Monsters.
Yeah, seriously, right, Marvin?
Name, is reportedly shaken to the core by Concord's abysmal failure, but management is ignoring any discussion on DEI or wokeness. Probability Monsters, whose CEO and founder is Harold Ryan, the former president and chairman of the board at Bungie, sold Firewalk Studios in Concord to Sony back in April 2023. A press release.
I'm changing my name to probably a clueless game designer.
Oh boy.
There has to be like some sort of place where they come up with these like a hat where they just put in random words and they're like, your first name will be probably, and let's see and jelly, no, that's already taken. Monsters. A press release from Sony shared Sony Interactive Entertainment LLC announced today it has entered into an agreement with Probably Monsters to acquire Firewalk. Then Sony CEO and President Jim Ryan said Firewalk is led by a world-class team that is highly experienced and deeply passionate about creating exceptional multiplayer games that foster memorable shared experiences. Ooh, that's painful to read. Yeah.
Well, I mean, how many people
to be shared?
Yeah, well, that and I think a grand total of what 5,000 people made memories.
Let's hope. Let's hope that
Yeah.
they didn't just turn it on and walk away. Harold Ryan also stated, Probably Monsters is incredibly proud of the team and the game we incubated and built over the past few years. Firewalk Studios joining PlayStation Studios is a brilliant move for the team, game, and future players. Our goal is to find the best path to market for all of our games, and we couldn't be happier for the Firewalk team.
That's a bold statement, Cotton. You a few years. Okay, what is a few? Let me ask you, anybody in here, anybody on the listening, what's a few? You say a few, you think, well, 1, 2, maybe 3. Not 8 years. They worked on this game for 8 years. That's not a few years. That's a decade.
And gone before 2 weeks. Yikes! This is almost painful at this point. I'm glad that I wasn't invested in this game personally. Firewalk Studios.
I only want to interject because I think Spencer and I did the math, or maybe Loki and I did the math, but I think it basically this game was live for 1 day for each year it took to make.
Ooh. You would think that it would be a really good game at that point, but I'll never know because you can't play it. It did not fare any better on PlayStation, with PSN profiles reporting that only 1,539 individuals owned the game. Following poor sales, Firewalk Studios game director Ryan Ellis announced in a blog post on the official PlayStation website that the game was being shut down less than 2 weeks after it was released. We don't have an official word from Sony at this point, but the fact that they have refunded everyone's stuff and not thrown in like a digital item, because again, this is a game that had a roadmap attached to it, a season 2 planned. There was something that they could have given to gamers here in the meantime, but they didn't do that. Here we go. The game went dark September 6th, but the day before it was shut down, the company's senior concept artist, Amanda Kiefer, revealed that employees are terrified of the future. That makes me very sad to hear. I was going to DM you after seeing this, but this site makes me pay to do that. So at the risk of getting dogpiled, I'm just going to say this here. A lot affected the art side of Concord, including design by committee, failure of some leadership to listen to the art team, etc. Ooh, she continued, the character concept art, including myself, is going through an extremely difficult time emotionally, and some of the team no longer want to work in games, design characters, or even do art anymore. Because of this, posts like yours, though understandable, are unfortunately ill-timed. None of us know which way the wind will blow with the studio. We're worried, sick, and terrified of the future. Not only that, but we have been shouldering the brunt of the emotional labor as executive/directors dodged most of the blame. Okay, so I'm going to say that this is a failure of management. This is not a failure of the individual team members here. We'll come back to the article in just a second here. But when something bad happens on the lower levels of the company and somebody turns in something like a bad concept art, or if they release or they send in a good concept art and then it gets, needled and designed by committee into being whatever it is that we saw from that game, that's a failure of management. Like, in the end, if you are in charge of a team, you are in charge of the output for that team. What do you think could have fixed this before it hit the market?
Isn't this the same woman that said, if you don't buy our game, you're not going to have any games to buy?
Okay, that's not what she said. That wasn't what she said.
What did she say? Okay,
there is a list going around there is a list going around right now called basically like it's like DEI detected or something like more than Kabudist Rambo's thing. It's like on steroids, and it basically lists every game as being I think it's called like woke detected, and it basically lists every game in the world is on there for some level of woke propaganda, right? They say, if a character, for example, they put Elden Ring on there as this game is woke because there's an option to change your character's gender, not in a trans way, just like, are you playing as a male avatar? And now you can go into a female avatar. There's no narrative behind it. It's just a gameplay. And they went, wow, this is pro LGBTQ like propaganda. This is so gross. Don't play this. And that's what she was responding to, is if you go and look at that list, pretty much every game from the last 40 years is on there. And she was commenting that if people really
go this extreme, they're going to run out of things to play because everything will, you can, if you really want to, you can make a case that anything is woke, right? And you can make a case that you don't want to play it because of this reason, that reason. And that's what she's saying, is that there are some people out there whose hackles are way too raised over this stuff. And if they continue on in that way, they're not going to have anything to play. And that is true.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, that's totally true.
The people that tried to say FF7 Rebirth or God of War Ragnarok, because it had a black girl in it, like that's woke. No, the game is not woke at all. Neither of those games were woke at all. Like and that's where we run into the trap of criticism, because we criticize things for going woke, but when you're turning everything into woke, then the legitimate criticisms fall on deaf ears because it all just becomes noise.
This is the issue that comes up. Go ahead, Loki.
I'll just say really quick, it'll just take a second. I agree with what you're both saying, but I'll also say she's wrong in the fact that I've got a stack of games sitting right there. I have stacks of games sitting here. I have a back catalog that'll take me 10 years to get through on Steam. I don't have to buy their games.
Right, but that's not what she's saying. She's saying you need to be careful of drinking the ideological Kool-Aid too hard, because right now you have all those stacks of games, but if you went into them looking at, okay, I'm going to find out anything that's woke in them, I guarantee so many of the games you like that you and I have talked about, you would find a reason to go, this is woke slop, I don't want to have it. Whether it's, like the original Final Fantasy VII has the honeybee inn scene. Yes, it's a scene with cross-dressing, but does that automatically label something as woke? And some people would argue yes, and those people are a little too
right. Like, for instance, Legend of Zelda: The Breath of the Wild is a good example of this. And there are multiple instances when you're trying to get into the Gerudo camps where someone will be cross-dressing in those
Somebody
games.
tried to tell me the other somebody commented on one of my articles in that Park Place saying that the Muppets are woke because Miss Piggy is fat and she's the main character. And I'm like, yeah, but they're constantly dunking on her. That's what I'm talking about.
Exactly.
Fat. Like, they're just making fat jokes at her constantly. So,
right.
We're starting to get to a point where there's like people.
But again,
the Bad Boys movie that came out this year. Somebody commented on one of my videos on that. Where like, it's two black guys. It's woke. And I'm like, no, it's not.
That's what I mean. The existence of a fat character or a black character or whatever character does not make something inherently woke. There are some people out there who, and I've seen that they do exist, who will take anything and run with it as, this is overly woke. Oh my gosh, don't engage with it. And those are the people who will have nothing to play because they're more concerned with getting a culture war dunk in than actually engaging anything or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I'm not disagreeing with any of this. We do need to wrap it up and get back to the article though. With this, okay, when I do everything woke, I go through and almost to the point of being humorous, I will list anything that I can come up with on there, even the lightest thing, whether or not it's actually true.
Right, but see, you're being humorous about it. That's you had just admitted that these are people who are going out there and going, that littlest thing that you would have made, poked fun at, Jonas. They're going to take that seriously, and
there are people in my comment section who definitely take it seriously, but also there's matters of degrees on this. So, like,
exactly.
There was a discussion on the Barbie movie. Someone pointed out the trans Barbie in that movie. There's one of the Dr. Barbie is played by a man, and somebody told me, well, I didn't know it was a man, so therefore the movie is not woke. I'm like, okay, well, I know someone who definitely falls on the other side of that argument here, saying that if there is a woman who is presenting as a woman who is played by a man, that it is definitely so. There are degrees here. But
what does it have to do with the story? If it has something to do with the story, then there are degrees. I've been playing the heck out of Super Robot Wars 30. I love that game. There is a character in that game named Anne. She was a genetically modified soldier that was genetically modified at birth. No one knows what gender they are. They have no idea. And it's like every once in a while there's a thought like, is it a chick? Is it a dude? Blah, blah, blah. All Ange cares about is going out and defeating the enemy. She doesn't want to, or they don't want to socialize. They don't want to read manga. They don't want to watch movies. They don't want to hang out with people. They just want to go out and deal with the enemy. That is their sole mission. That is what they focus on. So no one knows. Is it a guy? Is it a girl? And it gets brought up a couple of times. I have no problem with that because of the way they did it in the story, and it makes sense.
And we're not attacking you, or we're not even discussing your point, because that's the reasonable way to do it, right? To look at things and judge them by scale, by relativity. We're talking about the people who see that there are people out there who would see that character and immediately, because they're not male or female, go woke, woke, woke. This is awful. This is disgusting. This is propaganda. And those are the people who we're talking about, who are like, they need. I would recommend breathing just a bit.
Right. And I will say, on just a slight pushback on that, that's also a defense that's used when some things are pushed. This is the two-edged sword, because politeness has been used as a weapon in introducing these things into areas where they should not have been introduced. For instance, in children's education and entertainment meant for children, where if you have any pushback, then it's, oh, well, you are, and I'm not going to list all the words that they would call a parent who says, I have a problem with all of this. So a lot of parents have had to say, okay, well, I'm just going to be hardline, hard stance, anything weird. Super Mario Brothers 2 is out because of this Birdo character. Forget about that. And they would rather make a hard stance. Well, I don't agree with that on Super Mario Brothers 2 because it doesn't affect the game. But the hard stance, when you're protecting other people, it's easier to take a hard stance than it is to try to go through every single thing that could come, because we have so much entertainment to try to weed out, like, okay, well, this one's fine, this one's not. I have to watch 8 hours of this live action anime to determine whether or not my kids are going to be able to watch this without getting some kind of weird...
you should be doing that anyway, shouldn't you? You should be checking what your kids are engaging with.
Right, but trying to keep up with all that is, I got to say, a mind-boggling task. So,
I get that, but unless you're just going to shut them out and say nothing, you're not going to watch anything.
I'll give you, for instance, Spencer. Okay, I'll give you, for instance, One Piece. How many years has that been around? Like 30 years or something? If I watch one season of One Piece, am I okay to say, okay, well, the first season wasn't woke, but there's some weird stuff in there. I'm not saying it's woke, but there's some weird stuff in there that maybe wouldn't be appropriate for the 5-year-old if the 10-year-old is watching. Anyways, whatever. We don't need to talk about parenting. Let's get back to this discussion that was had with a That Park Place source. Now, a source close to Probably Monsters informs That Park Place that Probably Monsters has been shaken to its core due to not only the game's failure, but to the extent that it's fail. While the company and its employees have been shaken by the failure, one thing that is not shaken them, and that they are not even acknowledging, is the game's embrace of woke ideology and diversity, equity, and inclusion. Interesting, the source also informed That Park Place that the company did indeed have discussions beforehand about how heavy it would embrace woke ideology. As shown in the game's final product, it does not appear that dissenting voices were able to bring any reason to those wanting to insert the woke ideology. And now it appears executives want to bury their heads in the sand. If what this source relays is true, other projects coming out of Probably Monsters incubation, as well as their Battle Barge and Hidden Grove studios, are most definitely at risk at being infected with the woke ideology and leading to similar disasters such as Concord. So
this is throwing money in the trash and burning it. This is that scene where you see Joker light that pyramid of money on fire. That's what they're doing.
Yeah.
And obviously this is from a source. This is take it with a grain of salt. But after looking at the output for Concord and these character designs here, where you're playing as a grandmother in a purple robe and all of this, and not even an interesting form of a grandmother, if it looks like Concord, then I would be shaking in my boots. If I was at one of these studios, I would probably be looking for other employment.
Spencer?
Spencer's having an audio issue here. That's just like the
What's
worst
up?
time. It sounds like we're silencing Spencer. We're not silencing.
No, what?
Spencer.
I'm here. What's up?
Oh no, I was just going to ask you. So what's going to be a place where we can outline or call out the things that are woke, like Concord? I mean, is that obvious? I mean, is that obviously woke?
I don't. I feel like you're misrepresenting my argument because
No,
I'm not
I'm
saying
not. No,
don't call
I'm-
things out as woke. I'm saying
No,
be smart about calling things out as woke. Don't just street everything.
I agree with that. I agree with that sentiment. I just, I mean, obviously the examples you brought up are very clear. I mean, there are things that you can do. I mean, Cyberpunk 2077 woke?
Lots of people say it is.
See, I think that's odd. And again, I think you have to draw your own line.
And this is that's what I'm talking about.
And one of the things is you can certainly break it down, and I think Jonas does that quite fairly on his Everything Woke About. In fact,
he doesn't do it. He just said he doesn't do it fairly because he takes a humorous bent to it. He just said he nitpicks.
Right.
That's
right.
Fair.
I do it overly because I know the line is somewhere a little bit farther than where I would put it normally. Necessarily.
Yeah, okay.
And I also know that I'm farther on this than some other people. So I go ahead and just list everything.
I would just say in the future, in that particular future, in that world, in Cyberpunk itself, when Mike Pondsmith created it and built out that whole world over time, I don't know that it's woke at all. Right.
But that's not what the people who think it's going to be woke are going to see. Oh, you can modify your body to be a woman and give yourself genitalia. That's woke. Oh my gosh. They don't care about the setting. That's what we're talking about. You need to be able to approach things with a context. Exactly. Context. You need to take everything into account and not just rage at something because it gives off the yes, you can infer, like we saw Concord, you can go, oh yeah, that's probably going to feature a lot of these things. But then you also need to go and check it and be like, does it really? And so that you can accurately criticize what you're talking about instead of just going, oh, that's woke, that's woke, that's woke. Because in the end, that's just the same as the other side going, oh, that's racist, that's misogynist, blah, blah, blah. And you go, did you ever read it? Did you ever look at it? No, I know what it's going to be. Well, then you're just undercutting your entire movement.
Well, and that's a good point, Spencer, because there's a big difference between something that has, let's say, a female main character versus something that has a female main character and virtue signals at you because of it and has an all men are trash,
correct, agreed,
message. And like those are the truly harmful things. So that's a thing that we have to watch out for,
right,
and that we shouldn't dilute.
And I'll also go ahead, Loki, and then I think I'll put a button on it here.
Okay, I was just saying real quick, look at what Larian did. Okay, Larian made a game where you can go off and you can do pretty much, I mean, you can have it your way. If you are a dude, you can be a dude. If you want to play it straight, you can play it straight. If you want to play it differently, you can play it differently. It doesn't force you down an avenue where you have to act like an absolute rainbow whatever. You can play it how you want to play it. Is that woke when you can play the game how you
yes
want it?
Because the option exists. People will say yes, it's woke because even if you don't personally choose it, the fact that these things are there, yes, we need to not support it at all whatsoever. They don't engage with it past, I'm going to listen to my favorite YouTuber or favorite tweeter say an out of context statement about it and run with it.
Yeah, and there's a certain amount of consent from the audience and things like that. I remember when Fable 2 came out and they opened up all the romance options. That was controversial at the time for a certain segment of the audience here. The thing that I think we can usually point to, if something is advertised as woke, if they talk about all of the diversity when advertising the game, I think for me that is usually the clearest indication. And I would say with Concord and hearing the stories about the professor and things like that, I have no problem, for instance, calling. And I'm not saying anybody didn't say that Concord was woke. But when we hear about some of the shenanigans that went on inside of Firewalk Studios, it would be silly to not call this one woke at this point. When we look at kind of the ugly.
Oh yeah, nobody's defending Concord here.
Right.
Nobody's defending Concord.
Right. So I have no hope for whatever else is coming out from these people. If they don't see the problem with what came out of Concord, if they don't see how this did not have mass market appeal, these are $100 to $200 million to make one of these things. As much as it should cost to make a big budget movie, if you spend that much on a video game, it has to have mass market appeal. And it's apparent to me that
Do not make me bring up my Spider-Man fact.
Go ahead, bring it up. I think it's applicable.
Spider-Man 2 cost more money to make the video game than No Way Home, which was a full-blown Hollywood production with multi-million-dollar celebrity paychecks, just by like leaps and bounds, by like millions. That's so insane to me. I will never get over that. Every time I'm on these streams, you will hear it. That Gameplays viewers, it is a cardinal sin of bad management.
Yep.
We need some OJ. We need some old school Jonas J. Campbell going. He's right, He's
right. Yeah. The other thing is you have to do a sequel to Spider-Man, and that game sold so many copies for PlayStation 4. I doubt they've made their money back.
They needed something to play. People didn't have any games. It was that, and then wait for Concord.
Right. And that's really when it comes down to it. When a system has a low install base, it slows down the development time on things. And we don't even know if we're getting the DLC for that game. But you know what we will be getting here? Some super chats. Clyde Griffiths for £2. I'll never be top. So here's £2. Thank you very much, Clyde Griffiths. We appreciate you.
Yeah.
Sure we can't come up with something for Clyde Griffiths, their culture?
Maybe. Okay.
Machiny Draws for $10. I love that Concord shut down before the PS5 Pro reveal. I wonder if there was a version of this that had Concord in it.
Oh, yeah.
The game was removed from everyone's libraries yesterday. Concord will go down in history as one of the biggest moments in this 9th generation. We still are waiting to find that secret level episode of the Amazon anthology series.
Yes. As soon as that comes out, we are going to mock it into the ground. It's going to be a good time.
We're going to machiny it into the ground.
There you go.
Jacob Foxfires for $5. Honestly, that list sounded like a psyop meant to put Cabrutus' list in a bad light. That list was glowing. Yeah, it was pretty suspicious to me, and I'm pretty apprehensive about labeling anything. I try to be pretty careful if I haven't seen it, telling people that I haven't seen a movie or something like that to add in that context. But I think Cabrutus is doing a pretty good job of explaining what he's doing as he goes along. But this is a list that is separate from Cabrutus's that we're talking about, just in case anybody missed that fact. Machiny Draws for $20. What Amanda Kiefer is saying basically exposes the theory I've been having that this video game industry is what they want it to be. An exclusive club where you, the gamer, isn't invited. But both points are correct. Yes, I can't share the details, but I can tell you stories of developer disdain for features that are requested over and over and over again.
They don't even like to have gamers as their testers until they dump it online in some early access or whatever. The QA teams, they do not want gamers on their QA team. True. That ought to tell you everything you need to know. You want all your problems solved. Hire a bunch of gamers to deal with your quality and assurance to go, this is wrong, you guys need to fix this, because they will catch it.
He's right, Abdelio for $5. They brought this on themselves by pushing it so hard on us all these years. A lot of people are extra sensitive to it now. I think this is a really good point, that people are getting really tired of it. So there's a more visceral reaction than there would have been several years ago.
Yeah, I agree.
Cool. Machiny Draws for 10. I will use woke and DEI in my hashtags for my content to get traction, but I never describe anything as woke. There is nuance to everything, and I'll view everything in a case-by-case basis. I usually like to talk about the possibility of wokeness here. Again, not to continually talk about Disney, but when we talked about Inside Out 2, me and Pro continually went back to the idea that it looks like this could be. We didn't say it was, just talked about the environment that's there and how it was likely to be. Try to never say something that doesn't exist yet is definitely going to be something, because you're going to end up wrong one of these days, hopefully. Radial Drago, or Drago, for £5. Games have always been diverse. It's whether they revolve their characters around the victimhood of their diversity is the problem. I'm going to go back to one of my favorite diverse games, Punch-Out. where a couple of Japanese developers made fun of every single stereotype out there, including the Japanese
And the French.
and the French. I cut somebody off there. I didn't mean to.
Didn't cut me off.
All right.
No,
Sorry.
I'm just letting my ire at the French be known.
We didn't get to it, although it would have been good to stick it in here with the discussion about subscriptions. Xbox Game Pass Standard just came out, by the way. That is the new tier that is replacing Xbox Game Pass for consoles as well. And you will own nothing, and you will like it. Yeah. That being said, guys, thank you so much for being here today, and also to the chat. It's been an amazing chat today. We've had so much going on that it's been a little hard to keep track of it. I think the mods were asleep for some of it, actually. Spencer, do you want to tell people where they can find you?
Yeah, absolutely. As always, guys, you can catch us over on boundingintocomics.com, where we're dropping good news every day. Come check it out. We got all the in-depth stories for all your video game, comic book, movie needs. Also, check out the YouTube channel. And then, yeah, check out everything we've got going on around here. Subscribe to us here at That Game Place, and check out what everybody else has going on.
Thank you very much. Marvin, what have you got? When is your next live stream, Marvin?
Tomorrow night, Thursday night, 8 p.m. every week. We do Toonie Talk TV, which is our pop culture live stream pop culture podcast, where we talk movies and TV and comics and everything pretty much under the sun. Me, Kevin Apollo, and just Trish host it. Spencer drops in once in a while. A couple of you guys have all been on the show. It's a great time, so I hope everybody comes on down. And at 5:50 p.m. tonight, we have our premiere of our video, which is going to be the top 5 James Earl Jones moments in movies and TV. So I hope everyone checks
that sounds awesome, by the way. And
it was a fun one to make.
Command and Conquer.
Command and Conquer 2. Yes, Tiberium's son. Yes. What
Yes,
the heck's
exactly.
going on
Thank
down in
you, Loki.
Philadelphia? What is going on in Philadelphia? Kane. It's Kane. Oh no. Yes.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
When he learns that Kane comes back, it's like my favorite scene.
Loki, have you got
Kane
anything?
lives.
Loki, have you got anything you want to share about?
We've got, I know over at Loki's Mornings of Mischief, we got the comic book roundtable tonight. We've got Thirsty Thursday tomorrow. We're going to do the late show on Friday. I don't know what we're going to do Friday morning because we're not doing Lord of the Rings. I tapped out. I was like, no, I am done. I fell asleep 4 times in episode 4. I'm
just
not
want to raise
kidding.
your families, Loki.
I fell asleep in my chair. I kept having to get up and rewind it. And I said, I'm not doing this again. No. So I don't know what we're going to do Friday, but we got the morning show, 8 a.m. Central Standard Time, Monday through Friday. Come by, hang out. Usually have a good show. And we try and keep it cool. And I even try and kind of keep it clean nowadays. Every once in a while, something bad pops out of my mouth, but I'm working on it.
It's a difficult path to turn it back off again. I know it took a lot of effort
so hard.
when I started, and then to turn it back off again, that is difficult. Loki, I got a question for you in the private chat, by the way. Culture, do you want to tell people where they can find you?
Yeah, sure. You can find me here on That Game Place, and you can find me here all the time on That Game Place. But you can also find me on my own channel, Culture Casino, on YouTube, Rumble, Mindscatter, Odyssey, and everywhere else in between. Do check out a daily video or two and daily live streams, it seems like. So I can't get away from this computer chair, this cyberpunk gaming chair. So yeah, just know that for those of you who have participated,
True gamer
today,
status.
Yeah, if you're not subscribed here, double check. And if you're not subscribed on my channel, double check. And then, if you wouldn't mind, watch 2 of your favorite videos in a row on my channel, because guess what? That locks it in for at least a month. And while you're there, hit the thumbs up button on those as well. I was tasked to do something that I'm going to do right now. Well, in like 2 seconds. maybe 3.
Are we sharing the thing?
No, I'm going to do this. Boom. Thank you, Clive
Hey, look at that right there.
There you go.
I like that, Clive Griffiths. Yeah. Hey, so I don't know the best way to broach this subject, but there's currently a GoFundMe. Our good friend Loki here has got a situation that I'm not going to make him go through every detail of it.
Basically, he bought Concord at launch for full price, and now he really needs to get out of this hole.
He does.
The quick explanation is I've been treating diabetes for the last 2 years. In those 2 years, my white blood cell count has gone up and up and up. I've got a whole bunch of tests in November. I've got a deductible I have to meet, and this is to try and help with that.
Right. And I want to say that we're not asking anybody to put themselves in a difficult situation financially over this, but anything helps. But if you can't help, or if you don't want to help, one of the things you can do is share out this link. We're trying to get Loki to the point where this covers his deductible here. And I've had several people that have checked on this. We've vetted Loki. We trust Loki anyways, but I think that this is a very good cause, and he is a person who does not ask even after the first time he's gone through trouble. This is not the first time he's gone through trouble. And this is something that I think that if we band together here, that we can get him taken care of here, because we like him to be on streams and things like that, and he can't be on streams and do all of this stuff if he's got to work all the time here. So I put the link in
Help our brother out
right here. D-Bud Martin has it right there. I was just joking about D-Bud Martin taking a break there. D-Bud is awesome. But I just want to say thank you, and Loki, thank you for telling us enough to so that we can share that out. All right, we got one more super chat here. Glade Riven for $5. I hate how X are dunking on Concord artists. It's works for hire, and you deliver what the client/boss wants. That's very true. And I've had a few clients or bosses try to blame me for things they asked for before, and that just is not right. So fair point. And by the way, I really like your avatar.
Yeah, it's awesome. Oh, one last final note. I want to say this. Thank you to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 people who contributed to the channel today, to the monetization. We appreciate it. That goes to good use, and it really will this month. So thank you all very much.
Yep, that's very true. All right, thank you everybody for being here. Be sure to check out that Park Place. By the way, tomorrow we'll be going over the story in the New York Times that basically says that Bob Iger tanked the company behind Bob Chapek's back. Maybe on purpose. Maybe because he thought it was the right thing to do, but mostly because Bob Iger didn't want to actually consult with the CEO of the company. But
check out the new TPP exclusive story about the theme park disaster that Lou put up today.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to be talking about that as well. Oh man, that's a great story.
Jonas,
great is relative.
Wow. Well, Jonas, do you want to close with one of the new commercials?
We have yes, we should. You pick the commercial here. Before we start it though, let's play this because we never get to use this.
Yeah, I just wish we would use that between headlines. That'd be smarter.
Oh.
Hey there, I'm Flo from Under a Rock, and I'm here today to tell you about That Game Place. They're a bunch of good
Hitman.
What? Folks who are passionate about games. In fact, they were
once human.
A bunch of friends who came together around that Park Place and thought the game space could use their valuable
Monopoly
insights. Sometimes they'll tell you how to
Minecraft,
look into if a game is a good fit for you, and review the
Hades
upcoming games. This team of
Codenames
intelligent people will
Scrabble
collect all the pertinent data points as well for your
Pandemic
studious needs. Jonas J. Campbell, the
Dishonored
investigative reporter for That Park Place and Culture Casino. He specifically
Yahtzee, hey!
well informed.
God of War.
Wilson, come on now. What are you? Now you're just. What are you doing?
Oh, well, I was just looking into various games. I didn't know what was good or not. Trying to pick what thing to play next and maybe get a bit of background information in the process.
Oh, yeah.
So I was asking Alexa what game I could play.
Yeah.
Oh, I know a good game I could play with Alexa.
What's that?
Who to vote for?
Or you can just go to that game place and subscribe and stay up to date on games.
Oh. Okay.